the Golden Gophers of Minnesota and the Badgers of Wisconsin. And welcome to Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. Dave Barnett along with Bill Curry. Yes, Wisconsin is 8-0. Yes, number 7 in the country. But there are people who still wonder how good they are because they have played to date the 98th toughest schedule. You are not one of those.
Did you ever play marbles?
I lost mine.
Yeah, when I played marbles with the big boys, they took my marbles at the end of the match and put them in their pocket. When I complained, they said, hey, we play for keeps here. You throw your marbles on the field with Wisconsin, and their big boys are going to put them in their pocket. They're led by Tom Burke, number 74. I think he's the most important leader on their team. He leads the nation in sacks. He leads the nation in tackles for losses. He is relentless. He is the warrior soul of the Wisconsin defense.
You think even more important than Ron Dane to this team?
I really think so. Although Ron Dane is a certifiable wonder of nature, consider the 4,564 yards, 5.8 yards every time he touches the ball, a grand total of 1 fumble and 194 carries this year. That's incredible. But more importantly, he and Burke give a synergistic kind of leadership to this Wisconsin team that allows them to play just a little better than they really are. Minnesota's trying to do the same thing. They're not there yet, but they play really hard. So what we've got is a 4 keeps, rock'em sock'em Big Ten football game here today.
The question all week in Minnesota has been who will start at quarterback. Just about everybody is battered. Billy Cockerham with a bruised shoulder has warmed up, and Glenn Mason has said it will be up to Cockerham, if he feels up to it, to make the decision whether he can start. Right now, let's send it to Chris Fowler in the studio.
All right, fellas, thank you. Here we'll be keeping track on that Penn State-Michigan game this afternoon, but also on some major milestones. Ricky Williams needs 294 yards to pass Tony Dorsett. He takes on Oklahoma State, a team that throttled him last year. Virginia and Florida State, Chris Wenke, after that debacle against the Wolfpack, now needs 23 pass attempts without an interception to break Matt Blunden's record. Louisiana Tech and Arkansas State, Troy Edwards could get the 3 touchdowns he needs to set the single-season record that was set last year by Randy Moss. And Dante Culpepper, an NCAA record, 73.7 completion percentage, and also passing efficiency. He will take on Auburn as they try for the upset. In primetime on ESPN, important game in the Big East. McNabb against Zaraway, Syracuse, West Virginia at 7:30 Eastern Time. But when you come back, Wisconsin's biggin. Ron Dane sets his sights on Minnesota. It's the battle for the Paul Bunyan axe right after this. We'll see you at halftime.
How to speak Australian. Wake up call. Beer. Foster's, Australian for beer.
This is life. This is getting every mile you can out of life. And this is how you get there. Kelly Charger high-performance tires are engineered for long mileage. Of course, that's no guarantee you'll live harder or go farther. Just an invitation.
My voice is my life because I do talk radio. So when I get a sore throat, I count on Chloraseptic.
5 sprays for the fastest pain relief that's long-lasting.
We got a live one.
Vicks Chloraseptic. 5 sprays for instant relief that stays.
Welcome back, everyone, to Camp Randall Stadium, getting set for Minnesota and Wisconsin. Dave Ryan back on the sideline, joined by Barry Everett, head coach of the Badgers. Coach, your team 8-0, but you're coming off an off week. Are you worried about the team being rusty at all? And did the off week come at a good time for you?
Well, we thought it came at a good time, but you always worry about tempo because we had such a good tempo when we had to take the break. So hopefully we can pick up where we left off, but that remains to be seen.
We still don't know who you're facing at quarterback for Minnesota. They've got 2 different guys, 2 different styles. You've faced so many different offensive sets this year. Option attack. You've seen wishbone. You've seen great passing games. Are you ready for anything out there?
Well, I don't think their attack is going to change a whole lot regardless of who their quarterback is. We're prepared for it all.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Dave, Minnesota has won the toss and elected to defer, meaning Adam Bailey will kick off. And deep for the Badgers, Eddie Faulkner is on the left. Nick Davis, a freshman who is already one of the best kick and punt returners in the country, also back deep. Bailey with a wind at his back, drives it low, picked up at last by Davis, but no chance for much of a return, and he starts at his 17-yard line. The Badgers, and they're top-rated in the Big Ten rushing attack, featuring, of course, the Great Dane, Ron, who needs only 2 yards. Probably gets it on his first carry to go over 1,000 for the year. And if he gets his average for the season on first down to better than 5 yards per carry, long day for Minnesota.
Ron Dane is a punishing, pulverizing football player. He characterizes Wisconsin's style. They want to grind you into the dirt for the entire 60 minutes.
Dane in the eye, and it gives by Mike Samuel, and there's 1,000 plus. As Dane stretches to the 24-yard line, and we check the rest of the Badger group. Samuel, the somewhat unorthodox but very effective quarterback, with Dane and Cecil Martin, senior at fullback. Chris Chambers, when they go deep, their favorite target, 19 catches and averages 19 yards. He has 5 of their 8 touchdown catches for the year. Aaron Gibson, 6'7", 370, an Outland Award finalist, a Lombardi Award semifinalist. Somebody to watch all day at right tackle. First catch is good enough for the first down for Nick Davis, the freshman from Manchester, Michigan. The Minnesota defensive group featuring much improved John Schlecht, who has played 2 outstanding games in a row, 7 tackles, a career high, each of those 2. Michaels, Richard, Poole also up front. Hoffman, after a slow start, coming on, and he also has played his best 2 games of the year in the last 2 weeks. And in the secondary, Tyrone Carter, by far their leading tackler, but they figure to try and keep a hat on him, and Keith Dimmy at 170 pounds may be called on for a few collisions with Dane. This time the Gophers swarm Samuel at the 28-yard line, and Ben Mesera joins John Schlecht on the tackle. Ron Dane has averaged, Bill, in his 2 meetings with Minnesota, 240 yards, but the difference this year is he's going to face 8 and mostly 9-man fronts.
You're exactly right. He just punishes whoever's there. It doesn't matter how many of them there are. Wisconsin doesn't change its plan. It's going to come right at you and try to mash you.
Loss of 4. 2nd and 14, and Dane picks his way through the middle back to the original line of scrimmage. Ron Dane, as a junior, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, only the 2nd Badger ever to accomplish that feat. Billy Merrick, the only other Wisconsin running back with 3 consecutive 1,000-yard campaigns.
Dave, the only thing that Dane understands is straight ahead. He does not go east and west. He is a north and south. Here's a 3rd and very long. They're in the gun. That's a rarity.
Samuel will keep, but not nearly enough for the first. Hit at the 37 by Park Williams, the outside linebacker. And only 1 first down in the first series of the afternoon for Wisconsin.
Wisconsin doesn't worry about situations like this. They're very patient. They're happy to play field position. Their average starting position for drives is 38-yard line this year, 24 for the opponents.
One of the best punters in the country, Kevin Stemke, to Luke Leverson, who is immediately cut down at the 17-yard line. A 43-yard kick. And Joey Bozay, who has been a terrific gunner all season long as a freshman. It is Cockrum who decides he's up to it. He bruised his right shoulder on the first series against Michigan last week. Said it didn't affect his passing, but he didn't practice at all most of the week, and wide receiver Ryan Keller got most of the snaps. Is listed as the backup at quarterback today, but they're going to see how long they can go with Cockrum. And Thomas Hamner has big room over the left side at about 16 yards on the first play for the Gophers. Knocked out by Mike Eccles. Rest of the lineup for Minnesota. Luke Leverson just about shut down by the Wolverines. Only 2 catches last week, but he has 56 for touchdowns coming in. Henderson, Haas, and Johnson, the other targets for Cockrum. And they've made a big change. Troy Dewar, normally the 3rd tight end, has moved over, changed numbers from 87 to 76, and he replaces Eric Larson at right tackle. Cockerham directing Leverson, and finally Henderson, who makes the catch inbounds, they say, at the 40-yard line. The Wisconsin defense, top 5 in the country across the board, and they line up this way, featuring Tom Burke, first in the nation in sacks with 16, tackles behind the line with 24. Favre, 6 sacks on the year, not far behind him. Chris Dorsey, their leading tackler, not even a starter when the season began. Thompson and Adams off the other backers. Excellent freshman corners. Jamar Fletcher with 4 picks, 2 for touchdown returns, tops in the Big Ten this year. Draw play on 2nd and 4, not real effective. Maybe a yard and a half for Thomas Hamner, and the Gophers will look at 3rd and short as Ross Kalachi brings down Hamner, the Gophers' leading rusher. Glenn Mason all week, Bill said, don't know last night, still don't know about the quarterback, and finally, just before kickoff, left that decision up to Cockerham.
He left it up to Cockerham because it's important to understand if a young man really wants to be in the saddle. He's the leader. This team's going to reflect his attitude. It looks to me like he's come out with the right attitude.
Cockerham with a short drop and a strike at the 48-yard line. The catch by Ron Johnson. First down, Golden Gophers.
His right shoulder was somewhat injured last week. He returned, but this is fine throwing motion. You could fault him for falling back off of it just a little bit, but he got it in there. Nice throw, first down. 2 consecutive first downs. Minnesota's not supposed to be able to do that against this defense. Tight end flexed here.
Hamner, 3 yards on first down off right tackle, and into Wisconsin territory where he's hit by Burke and Donnell Thompson.
Steve Loney, the fine offensive coordinator for Minnesota, has already shown 2 sets and 2 plays. The first play from scrimmage, that was a 16-yard gain. There's Steve right there. Okay. And then the flex tight end on the previous play, both of which worked reasonably well. And they've got Minnesota thinking a little bit, or rather Wisconsin.
Little post by Luke Leverson, and another strike and another Minnesota first down, good for 13 yards.
And Dave, you and I talked last week. Leverson only had 2 catches, whereas in the previous 3 games, he had 30 catches. He's a marvelous player. Loney is getting him into the game plan. Good throw by Cockerham. That right shoulder's not bothering him very much.
Yeah, they've already decided that they're not going to let another week go by without making sure Leverson, their best playmaker, gets a chance to make some plays. Cockerham swarmed and dropped back at the 45. And another one for Burke.
Time and time again, if you love football, this is a guy you just have to watch. He only has one speed. He practices full speed. He plays full speed. He leads this football team. He could be characterized as the throwback prototype football player. Reminds me of Mike Curtis, my old roommate with the Baltimore Colts. It's just a privilege to be on the field with a football player like this guy.
2nd and long. Swing it out for Hamner. And the 44. They allow Thomas Hamner.
Number 96, John Favre on the play. He's sort of a clone of Burke. 2 years younger, obviously picked up on the leadership of this outstanding player, Burke, as has the entire defense. And I really think that when you have a great defensive unit, there are 4 former walk-ons on this unit. We'll tell you who they are as the game progresses, but they don't play like walk-ons. They're among the nation's leaders in virtually every defensive category that matters.
So 3rd and 18. Gophers have moved it until this set of downs, and now they got to go deep. Cockerham, no chance. Drops by Chris Dorsey coming on a blitz, which with their great front 4 pressure, Wisconsin doesn't have to do all that often. But they come after Cockerham on 3rd and 18. And we'll see Ryan Rindles. Another advantage for the Badgers today in the kicking game. 38 yards per kick all Rendell's has managed this year. But he has the wind, and he has a beauty, which will sail into the end zone. 52-yarder, 0-0 in Madison in the battle for Paul Bunyan's act.
Everybody. Special financing now available. Where the la with the cow.
To see a bit of what makes Dodge Intrepid fast, let's cut to the quick. It has a sparkling 200 horsepower gem of an aluminum engine, grippy independent suspension, crisp steering, and a highly functional driving space. Intrepid demonstrates a lot of powerful thinking, no matter how you slice it. Well equipped, $20,495.
Send your customers 2-day packages with FedEx and we'll deliver, even on Saturdays, for an extra $10.
Send your customers 2 to 3 day packages with priority mail and we'll deliver, even on Saturdays, at no extra charge.
Send your customers 2-day packages with UPS and we'll deliver. But not on Saturdays. Sorry.
So, what's your priority?
Bob, get to Baltimore. Bob, get to Portland. Bob. Where's Bob?
Fly full fare twice on Northwest Airlines before December 18th, and your third trip is on us. 1, 2, 3. It's a little perk from some people you work with. Northwest Airlines.
Anyone seen Bob?
ESPN's presentation of Big Ten football is brought to you by Rheem Heating. Relax, it's Rheem. And by the new Dodge. It's about change.
Lucky's Badgers only one first down their first series. They start from their 20. With Dane the lone setback and Chambers in motion. And Dane tries to push the pile, gets maybe 3 yards on first down. The first contact coming from Sean Hoffman, who's joined by Tyrone Carter.
Okay, Godorsey's lined up right here as the middle linebacker. He moves around. He's got what we call a green blitz, meaning he has to see a particular key. If his back blocks, he blitzes. So that's a restrained kind of blitz, but there's no pickup for him. Nice defensive thinking by Kevin Cosgrove, defensive coordinator for Wisconsin.
That forced him to go for punt. Ball is incomplete, intended for John Sigmund, and Michigan underway against Penn State. Chris Fowler.
They've been moving. They take the opening kickoff 63 yards on a drive. On 3rd and 11, they block the blitz. Tom Brady finds Aaron Shea. First quarter touchdown allowed by Penn State all year. Lions have just fumbled. Wolverines in business in the red zone. Again, back to you.
Well, in Minneapolis last week, they got an early touchdown. A long pass to Ty Streets. Then it got tough for their offense.
Yeah, they've got to be consistent. They've got to keep it going, and I think Brady's getting better every week.
3rd and 7. Samuel, after faking the draw, incomplete, intended for Chambers, covered by the improving corner, Willie Middlebrooks. And David Gibbs got to be real happy with those first 2 series.
David Gibbs is pleased with the way his kids play. He said, look, we don't have the greatest players in the world, and I know I'm hard on them, but they play really hard. They do everything we ask them to do. They're off to a good start here.
Semke shanks this one. Boy, a real rarity for him, but he gets a roll, and it's going to turn out to have decent yardage. Rolls out at the 33, and it's 44 yards. He'll take it. 6:39 in a scoreless first quarter.
For Dodge Intrepid, we looked beyond a great look and took cab-forward architecture to a new place. With a spacious cabin, a very useful pass-through, and a cavernous trunk, Intrepid is an automobile for today, wrapped in a shape for the next millennium. Well equipped for as low as $20,495.
To test their latest parka, Mother Gert Boyle and son Tim head for the mountains. Columbia Sportswear, one tough mother.
Oh. Dennis looks left and rolls right. It's a pass to Broadway. Touchdown!
I'm gonna call Pete.
Hey, make sure you dial 10-10-3-2-1 first.
Why?
Because it saves me moolah.
Really?
Yeah, and it's half price for all calls over 20 minutes.
Half price? That's a lot. What about monthly fees?
No fees, no hidden charges. Here, look how low my phone bill is.
Wow, 10-10-3-2-1 does save a lot.
Don't bother calling.
Why not?
You just lost.
Dial 10-10-3-2-1.
Bit of a slow offensive start for Wisconsin. Minnesota has it for the second time. They start at their 33. Moved it fairly well until the sacks by Burke and Godorsky on their first series. Cochran trying to be heard over the 78,000 with the call at the line. And another short toss for Leverson for about 6 yards, brought down by Jamar Fletcher. And let's look at the remainder of our Saturday game schedule. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ESPN2. An important SEC battle between Mississippi State trying to keep pace with Arkansas and Tim Couch-led Kentucky. 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Action from the Big East as Donovan McNabb and 17th-ranked Syracuse travel to Morgantown to take on West Virginia. And back on the deuce at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Big one from the Wax Mountain Division. First place, Wyoming, on the road at Colorado State. Here's Hamner, and he's had a couple of nice holes, both on the left side, and this one good for a first down to the 48-yard line.
A duplication of the first play in the game. A wing tight end, Zach Vevey, number 81, lead blocking. Excellent job on Godorsky, knocks him on the ground. He had a great day blocking a week ago. He's off to a good start today. 2 nice gains on the same kind of play. The first play from scrimmage and that one.
Vevey going in motion. Another toss left side for Hamner. Not nearly the same result this time. And let's look in on Notre Dame and Boston College, Chris Fowler.
That's right, Dave. Audrey Denson is chasing the career rushing milestone in the early going here. Oh, a little juke there. Little 2-yard touchdown run. Notre Dame scores in their first possession. So does Purdue. A Drew Brees touchdown pass leads the Wildcats by 7 back to Madison.
Boilermakers still trying to win a couple for bowl consideration. Minnesota has the same possibility, 4-4 coming in. Haven't been bowling in 12 years. One-on-one coverage, and it's picked off by Jason Doring, who returns it to the Gopher 49, 23 yards. Third pick of the year for the sophomore from Rhinelander, Wisconsin.
Barry Alvarez, in speaking with us yesterday, said 2 or 3 years ago, he said to one of his players, now, did we miss anybody in our state? He said, yeah, that Doring guy. He said, okay, well, let's get Doring to walk on here. Here's one of the walk-ons, Chris Doring, who makes a nice break on this 3-deep play. He's the deep safety. Any ball thrown anywhere on the field deeply is his responsibility. He's a big-time hitter. He's a big-time free safety. Field position for Wisconsin.
Rondé spurts through for about 5, about what he averages for the year on first down. His nickname's the Thumper. They say that he has missed 1 tackle all year. That includes all spring. And it's the 19th, plus 19 now in the takeaway giveaway ratio, which leads the NCAA. They're 25th takeaway of the year. A phenomenal number, headed probably to a school record for the Badgers. Second down. This is going to be a loss for Dane, who is spun down by John Michaels, maybe for loss of a couple. And let's check in down low with Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave and Bill, you mentioned the great production of Jason Doring. Wisconsin secondary coach Phil Alnation uses a weekly production chart to follow the progress of his defensive backs. He got the idea when he was assistant at Washington in 1995. The guys are rewarded for all kinds of great plays made, like the interception we saw, tackles, assists, sacks, passes broken up, and quarterback hurries. They can also lose points for missed tackles, mental errors, and penalties. So far, one negative check all year for Doring. He'll get some more positive points after that big interception, Dave.
3rd and 7. Samuel to the sideline, and the catch is made for the first down by Chris Chambers, who has been missing the last couple of games in the game plan, or at least they haven't found him. 15 yards here, and like Minnesota with Leverson, the Badgers looking early for Chambers to get him on track.
Nothing particularly aesthetic about the way Mike Samuel plays football. You might want to change his delivery, but you don't want to change his results. That's not exactly a spiral, but it certainly is a completion to Chambers.
And the draw for Dane. Breaks a tackle, breaks 2, in fact, and moves the pile for 9. A very typical Ron Dane run. Finally, Curtis Poole wrestles him down at the 21.
And Ron Dane doesn't do a thing after the carry except put the ball on the ground or hand it to the official, get back in the huddle. He doesn't stand over anybody. He doesn't dance. He doesn't gesture to the stands. He just gets ready to go back to work. It is daunting. It is intimidating. It is demoralizing to the opposition. It's also dangerous. You can get hurt trying to tackle this guy.
Oh, about 9.5. Well, you put it real simply yesterday. It hurts to play against Ron Dane.
I'm going to tell you, I played linebacker for a while. You'd have to say, watch it. Here's how it looks when he's coming at you. Now, do you really want to hit that guy? And so many times, we notice in studying the films, people get up and they can't walk back to the huddle. They have to be helped off the field because they tackled Dane. He is a man.
And he got hit by Poole, who Mason compared in his matchup with Aaron Gibson. They said that's like our Volkswagen against their semi. 370, blocking 240, but Poole fought him off that time. On 2nd and 1. Straight ahead dive on the sneak by Samuel, and he's inside the 21st down Badgers.
And that play is emblematic of the way Wisconsin thinks. A lot of people look at 2nd and short as a waste down. Okay, fake it into the line, see if you can get it in the end zone. What Wisconsin wants to do is keep the football, keep the drive alive, punish the defense, grind them into submission, make first downs.
They got another one, and they go with both Chambers and Ahmad Merritt. Wide right this time, and 2 tight ends. Eric Graham's in motion. Dane, 17-yard line, hit there by Sean Hoffman. Well, the latest edition of ESPN Magazine has hit the newsstands, and it features John Elway in the cover story. Among those profiled from the college gridiron, we include Georgia's two-way sensation Champ Bailey, also Kansas State's Michael Bishop. The man in Manhattan is in our crosshairs. The latest ESPN Magazine on newsstands now. Gophers again do about as well as you can on first down. Hold them to 2, 2nd and 8. And they go this time from the eye for Dane, hit quickly by John Schleck. And they rave about his quick development. This is a transfer from Division II St. Cloud State who walked on. He has now, not surprisingly, earned himself a scholarship.
Oh, man, he is a heck of a football player. He's lined up here. He has marvelous quickness. He'll jump inside, back to the outside, plays off the blocker, and he hits big Ron Dane. Now, Ron's not used to that. He hadn't really gotten untracked, and Schleck hit him right between the threes. That's the way to play defensive line. Good job, Schleck. I thought he had a great game a week ago against Michigan.
3rd and long, and Samuel Looks first to the end zone. Now throws to the crowd. Out of bounds for Cecil Martin, the fullback.
What a catch by Cecil. And what a great person he is. Named to the All Good Works team the last 2 years by the American Football Coaches Association. Grant Taff and his people. Cecil blocks. He doesn't get to carry the ball much, but he's a fine receiver, and all you got to do is watch this play to know that that's the truth. Almost inches.
So on comes Matt Davenport, 12 of 13 for the year to try a 36-yarder. Out of Tim Roska's hold. He is good. And Davenport has the Badgers on the board with 1:17 to go in the first quarter at Camp Randall.
Stuck with high insurance premiums? Call Insure One for the best rates from over 50 national carriers and save up to 20%. For auto, home, health, life, or business insurance, dial 1-800-INSURE. Over 70 locations, thousands of satisfied customers. Insure One, the insurance superstore.
The AIM Investor Pop Quiz. The road to retirement should be paved with lottery tickets, pork belly futures, lots of vacations. Have peace of mind. Call your financial consultant about AIM mutual funds. The AIM Investor Pop Quiz. The first step to smarter investing is hoarding every penny, cutting up all your credit cards, seeing a financial consultant. Peace of mind comes from investing with discipline. AIM mutual funds.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers on ESPN Sunday Night Football.
Remember Love Your Blue? What does that mean, anyway?
It was the Oilers slogan back in '79, you mullet head. Their fans wore blue.
I choked on a tennis ball once. I was blue as a berry.
Are you sure it's not blue like racy, as in a blue movie?
ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Oilers against the Buccaneers.
I appeared in one film in college to pay the bills.
Rondane held out of the end zone as Minnesota forces Wisconsin to settle for 3, and for David Gibbs, you got to take that.
Yeah, David Gibbs is delighted with his defensive effort here. They keep him out of the end zone, and every time they can do that, they give their offense a chance to establish field position. The offense is moving the ball a little, so they're in this game, and he wants to keep his troops encouraged. Guess who the wedge buster is? Tom Burke, 74.
Vitaly Pasetsky just misses the pylon, and that will draw the flag. Let's look at what Drew Brees has going today. Chris Fowler.
He's got a lot going, Dave. Needed 5 touchdown passes to tie Bobby Hoying's single-season Big Ten mark. Now he needs 3 more. This is his second of the day. Tim Stratton, the touchdown. Purdue all over Northwestern, threatening again. Air Force closing in on the Commander-in-Chief trophy. Blaine Morgan has a touchdown pass. They lead Army.
Gophers have done a nice job shaking off their nightmarish performance against Breeze as Purdue threw for 604 yards, gained 692 and running away from Minnesota. That seems ages ago. They have made such strides defensively. And they go double reverse for Antoine Henderson. All that for a loss of 1 yard. As Jamar Fletcher, the right corner, stays home.
When a coach like Elmation says Jamar Fletcher is a special player, you assume he's talking about man coverage and he can break on the ball and intercept. But he's also smart. This guy's a freshman now. He stays at home on the reverse, well executed, special play, the kind of thing Minnesota's going to have to do to get on the board here, but not with Fletcher. He squats, plays his responsibility, makes the tackle, no gain.
Minnesota would have to have a few of those exotics today. First one didn't work. They go back to vanilla, and that works even less. As Hamner is cut down for a bigger loss by Burke and Favre the end.
Yep, John, when Tom Burke goes on safari, the lions roll up the windows, David. I mean, the guy is so tough you can't believe it. Kevin Cosgrove, the defensive coordinator, just loves him. They cannot say enough. There's Kevin. Not hard to find Kevin.
And on that note, end of the first quarter, Tom Burke up to his usual offense wrecking tactics, and it's a 3-0 lead for the Wisconsin Badgers.
You have to dig deep to find the source of Intrepid's solid feel. Reinforced door openings, strategically placed steel beams, and an isolated suspension cradle all contribute to Intrepid's supple ride. Take away that sturdy foundation and you have, well, nothing. Dodge Intrepid. We're changing everything. Again. Well equipped. $20,495.
Landlord. Cable guy.
Mr. Police, open up.
Yo quiero Taco Bell. Hey, nacho lovers, get a massive order of nachos Bel Grande for just 99 cents when you buy a large drink. That's over $1 off. Better hurry.
Long live Rome, and on to victory. There are times when you can't afford to miss a message.
Brutus!
When you get Skyward Plus from SkyTel, you get the message every time, guaranteed. There are times when you can't afford to miss a message. When you get Skyward Plus from SkyTel, you get the message every time, guaranteed.
Another Nokia discovery. Small words are hard to read, which is why at Nokia we make wireless phones with screens that are big, so they're easier to read. Inspired technology with a human touch. Nokia. Connecting people.
We deliver great quality, time after time.
Same with Super 8.
Every room is comfortable. And roomy.
Super 8.
Super 8. Life's great at Super 8.
How to speak Australian. Abstract art. Beer. Foster's Australian for beer.
It is bundle-up weather for really the first time this year for both these teams. Got down to the 20s overnight. Shouldn't get much out of the 30s today. We start the second quarter on a 3rd and 16 for the Gophers from the 29-yard line. They split Hamner from the backfield out wide left. Quarter blitz comes. Mike Eccles is there to cut down Cockerham. The fastest the Badgers have on one of the best defenses in the country. A freshman, they time in 4.3.
Mike Eccles, another redshirt freshman corner. Both of the starters are that age. And when you're not playing and you don't practice like Cochran this week, you just don't remember to look at those kinds of things. But it came from the boundary.
Rendles gets off a nice kick, which will draw a flag because it was interfered with. Fred Rogers got down, just mistimed it a bit, and he upset Nick Davis's opportunity to field that punt, drawing a couple of flags.
A lot of people don't understand this rule, but the rule says you can't come within 2 yards of the returner at any time. You must restrain yourself. Fred comes right in the line of vision of the returner, causes Davis to drop the ball, and had it been recovered by Minnesota, it would have been given back to Wisconsin. 5-yard penalty, even though there was not a turnover of the ball to the kicking team.
And that is all too common for Glenn Mason. His team next to last in the Big Ten in penalty yardage. Badgers don't need that much help. They start from their 40. And it is Dane trying to cut back, which, as you pointed out, he doesn't look to do all that often, and he just is managed the line of scrimmage. Tyron Russ, defensive tackle, with the contact.
This is a rare bounce, and when we talk about bounce, we're talking about forcing a ball carrier to not get the ball north and south. Dane uncharacteristically turns his pads toward the sideline and then tries to cut it back. Count 7 white shirts on him. That's how you tackle the big man.
They go 3 wides, an option, and Poole hits Samuel, forces the fumble, picked right up by Dane. Boy, if Poole had gotten that bounce last week, they might have beaten Michigan.
It's tough to coach that bounce pass. I don't know if Samuel was a point guard. This is for basketball, Mike. Get that ball up, man. It's not going to bounce like that very often. To get to 8-0, you got to get a lot of those days.
Well, for the most part, they've made their own breaks, but those come in handy, too. They haven't been able to convert their third downs so far. Only 1 out of 4, and they need 6 here. 3 wides and shotgun. And the Samuel pass bounces, intended for Chambers. Covered by Travis Graham. Let's look at Ole Miss and Arkansas trying to stay undefeated. Chris Fowler?
That's right, and they're in the early going, leading Ole Miss 7-0. Watch this ball from Clint Sterner to Anthony Lucas. Pretty ball, nice catch, 2.5 minutes in, Hogs up on Ole Miss, 7-0.
4th and 6. And another look at Kevin Stemke, who has the wind at his back for the first time. Last time Schenkit got all of this one, and Leverson will let it go into the end zone. A 56-yarder by Stemke. It's 3-0 Badgers early in the second quarter.
You gotta love it. Large cheese. Somebody order a pizza? Oh, I guess it's a pretty typical dorm room. Stuff's constantly going on. Hey, dude, can I borrow some underwear? We party. What's up? We study. Can I borrow some socks? No, we eat. Somebody order a pizza? So it's not like I have a ton of time or money to shop for a car. But I heard some pretty good things about Saturn, and I figured I'd check out their website. It was definitely different. I mean, I could actually pick out a car, play around with options, figure out monthly payments, avoid a lot of hassles. How about some deodorant? And Brian, my sales consultant, treated me great. Looking at the coupe, which was also pretty different. That was not all. Do it again. Considering the first time we actually met was when he stopped by with my coupe. Hi, I'm here with the Saturn. Somebody order a Saturn?
Got him?
Yeah, if I could only see.
I've got the perfect thing.
The Bosch Micro Edge XL has a revolutionary dual rubber wiping element.
Move to the left a little.
It's the best cleaning, longest lasting blade we've ever made. Bosch Micro Edge XL, the most advanced wiper system ever.
Beautiful. But I think we lost the headlight.
In a city where image is everything, you need high-profile protection.
Are you sure you're a real bodyguard?
You're still alive, aren't you?
Pamela Anderson Lee is bodyguard Valerie Irons in VIP, America's #1 new action hour. Check your local listings.
Now, the funniest show on television.
Seinfeld, you magnificent bastard.
5 times a week. Check your local listings for time and station.
ESPN's presentation of Big Ten football is brought to you by Saturn. A different kind of company, a different kind of car.
Not exactly an ice cream day, but at Wisconsin's Babcock Hall Dairy Plant, you can feast on the most popular flavor, Berry Alvarez, a mixture of strawberry, raspberry, and blueberry. And that's Aaron Gibson's order.
Dave, every day is an ice cream day. Don't you understand?
Gophers from their 20. Byron Evans hammers back up. Ended by Tom Burke, a gain of 1. Let's go down to Dave Ryan.
Guys, Minnesota defensive coordinator Dave Gibbs has got to be pleased with the solid start for the Gopher defense. Now, he tells us if his players are out there in the 60-player range for the game, like last week against Michigan, he feels his defense has got a great shot to hold down the Badgers. 80 or more plays, and it could be tough. That happening at Ohio State earlier this year. The team got worn down and exhausted, Dave, by the fourth quarter.
Wisconsin leads the Big Ten in a lot of categories, including time of possession, about 33 minutes per game. Not that kind of start yet today. That is incomplete, not a backwards pass, intended for Arlen Bruce. Another look at Notre Dame and BC. Chris Fowler.
Dave, the Eagles need to give their fans a reason to believe, and they have in the first quarter as Mike Cloud scampers in for the 11-yard touchdown. Late in the first quarter, we're now deadlocked at 7. Back to Madison.
Where it is 3rd and 9. Golden Gophers were very fortunate. That was ruled just an incompletion. And Cockerham wants timeout.
Now, how would you like to be Troy Dewar, number 76, lining up for his first start against guess who?
Tom Burke?
That's it.
I don't think I'd like that.
Oh, no.
We'll be back in Madison in a moment.
You change your oil every 3,000 miles, right? You don't, do you? You push it. Now you're so busy you try to squeeze another 1,000 miles out of your oil. Well, squeeze this. Just to do it yourself when you have the time. Reformulated Quaker State. Protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. Anybody say insurance? It's been tested. And unlike that lazy uncle nobody really likes to talk about, it works. Quaker State. Sensible technology.
Buy a case of Quaker State and save big on these leading car care products at participating retailers.
So, sir, I think that I could be a real asset to your company.
Jenkins, I think we can use a man like you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
For about the price of an ordinary hotel, Residence Inn offers you a living room, too, just in case you need one. Residence Inn by Marriott. Room to relax, room to work, room to breathe.
This is life. This is getting every mile you can out of life. And this is how you get there. Kelly Safari radios are engineered for long mileage. Of course, that's no guarantee you'll live harder or go farther. Just an invitation.
These two have been playing since 1890. Wisconsin 3, Minnesota nothing. Billy Cockerham, after the timeout, looks at 3rd and 9, and specifically looks at wanting to stay away from Tom Burke. Hamner again split out. As they come with the blitz, he gets away from Bob Adamoff and is run out of bounds emphatically by John Favre.
And number 29, Bob Adamoff, is another of those former walk-ons. He's a converted safety, so he understands secondary play. He understands blitz. He also understands coverage. He's the first one there. Cochrane does a nice job to evade the rush, but the play is dead as soon as Adamoff runs him out of the pocket.
The field position game starting to favor Wisconsin as Rindles lets this one go. A low liner makes the Minnesota hop, and a big one. Finally killed it to 26. It goes 51 yards. They play for the Paul Bunyan Trophy, and they have now for 50 years. This is the 108th meeting, one more than Missouri and Kansas. Minnesota has the upper hand. It was canceled, as was college football in general at one point, by Teddy Roosevelt. The early part of the century got a little violent for Teddy. The axe, as we said, first awarded in 1948 on a shutout victory by Minnesota. Badgers have held it more often than not lately. 1-point win in Minneapolis last year. Samuel to the sideline, and a strike for Chambers. Good for a first down to the 38, a pickup of 12. Penn State and Michigan again. Chris Fowler updated.
Dave, the story, missed opportunities for the Lions. Here's Travis Forney, sets up for a field goal. Big James Hall gets the block. Next possession for Penn State following a fumble. Get to the 5 and have 4 cracks. But on 4th down, Aaron Harris is stuffed by Sam Sword and company. Still 10-zip Wolverines.
All year, Lloyd Carr has said, will we ever play a complete game? Well, they have a start.
It would be a good time. Be a good time for them. If you're a Michigan fan.
Draw play for Dane. And that's what the Gophers look to do. Hit him low first and then wait for help, and that's going to hold him to about 2. Dyron Russ with the first contact. 292-pound Yum Yum out of Milwaukee.
Hey, take a look here at what they've done here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, 8 people inside the box. Great job. You can credit Sean Hoffman, number 45, the Fargo man, for bouncing this play. David Gibbs loves it. 7 white shirts on the big guy again, a 1-yard gain.
Take the draw. Samuel having to scramble a bit. And Keats, here's the marker down, and he coughs it up at the 45. It is covered by the Badgers.
Fumble recovered by Aaron Gibson.
Aaron Gibson bounced on it. But there's a flag right about the point at which Samuel began that scramble. Jack Teets is our referee, and it is holding Badgers.
Yeah, it's holding Badgers, but the story of this play is this big guy right here at the end of the play. If you think he's not an athlete, 365 pounds, Samuel makes a rare mistake, pops the ball up. Look at that guy move. He's like a cat. That's why the Pro Scouts love Aaron Gibson. He's not just a big old guy. He is an athlete. He can slam dunk a basketball. He can do a split. He has great flexibility, and and the quickness. He was on that football. Now they've got to get another ball, Dave. I think he squashed that.
Popped it.
But he got there. Good
31-inch vertical leap. That might be the most impressive of all the stats that have been gathered about Aaron Gibson. Either that or the 20.5-inch net.
No, the landing after the vertical jump is a big score.
2nd and 21, Samuel, option. Minnesota feared the option and the play-action pass, they said, even more than they feared what Ron Dane could do.
Yeah, they are going to gang up on Dane, and I think Gibbs said it well. I hope Dane has 40 carries for 150 yards, because that means we're still in the game if he's getting that many carries. What we fear are the big plays off play action, and Samuel throwing the ball deep and running the option, which he does extremely well. He was a triple option quarterback in high school. What we see here is not his strong suit, the gun.
They commit to stop the run every week, and they're 7th in the country in run defense. Samuel with time, long out. Merritt makes the catch, and he should have, in fact, will have the first down. Kept twisting until he could lean to midfield. It's 20 yards on just the 8th catch of the year by Ahmad Merritt. They don't look to him all that often. And again, this is not much to look at from Samuel, but it did the job.
Yeah, Merritt could have called for a fair catch here. The ball is wobbling. It's a duck. It's kind of like the ball that beat Indiana, except the man caught it lying flat on his back. Good gracious alive. If Scruggs gets a little quicker break, it goes the other way, but effective as usual.
Now back to Dane, straight ahead on 1st down. They're pretty consistently limiting him to a yard or 2 on those plunges up the middle.
Yeah, John Schleck, Antoine Richard, number 58, defensive tackles are holding up well. Ben Mesra, number 97. Linebacker Sean Hoffman, we've already mentioned. They are stout people. They're getting their pads down. They're getting up and they're taking on the big Wisconsin offensive line. This is actually a pretty normal process of Wisconsin. They'll grind you down. They don't care if it's 3-0 right now. They just keep coming at you.
And unlike most teams, they don't really care if it's 2nd and 8 or 3rd and 4. They figure they will get their yardage one way or the other. The fullback, Martin, close for the first down. He has caught it more than he's carried it this year. He's upended by Keith Dimmy, and let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Well, guys, Minnesota defensive coordinator Dave Gibbs told his team all week to follow his tackling philosophy when it comes to hitting Ron Dayne. Tackle at the knees, hit him low. With a player of Ron Dayne's size, using his chest as a target area for tackling will not work. They've got to go for the lower leg, ankles and feet, Dave, as you mentioned, trip him up and then wait for a lot of help. On the scout team this week, they used fullback Rob Williams, who was about 255 pounds in Minneapolis. He rolled over a few guys. Dave Gibbs said, gave a pretty good simulation, good look at how Ron Dayne runs, north and south, not east-west.
Well, he outweighs Dimmy by a mere 83 pounds. He better hit him low. Timeout, Wisconsin. You don't hit him low, you might as well just call ahead and reserve your hospital bed. 8:19 in the first half. What we expected, low scoring, 3-0. Undefeated, number 7, Wisconsin.
Give your cabinet a new look with Amarok hardware from Menards. Save on a great selection of knobs, handles, and hinges, all 25% off our regular low prices. Beautify your bath with Pace Medicine cabinets in a variety of styles. This cabinet in white or oak, just $69. This oak or white Bi-View, just $119. Look into great savings at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
The old Grand Hotel, built in 1847, is where you can find casual dining in the warm, timeless atmosphere of Otrena's Eatery and Tavern. On our front porch and balcony overlooking Main Street, enjoy hearty steaks, fresh fish, and delicious barbecue ribs, all cooked on a wood-burning grill. Private party facilities are available upstairs for up to 50 guests. Afterwards, enjoy an ice-cold microbrewed beer, single malt scotch, and fine cigars with friends. For lunch, dinner, or any special occasion, come to Otrena's Eatery and Tavern, located just north of Route 176.
Tune in to NFL Prime Time with Tom Jackson and yours truly. We get all the highlights from all the games. NFL Prime Time, Sundays at 7:30 on ESPN.
Wow, prime time. I'm into that. Burke and the Badgers throwing a shutout here midway in the second quarter, 3-0. They're undefeated. They're ranked 7th, but they played only one team that currently has a winning record, and that is Purdue. That is the 98th ranked schedule in the country coming into this battle, and that is why a lot of people are sort of withholding judgment to this point on Wisconsin.
They really are, but they can't do anything about that. You just have to play.
3rd and 1 dive on the sneak by Samuel. They won't have to wait long, though, for that schedule to improve, because they go to Ann Arbor next week. They come back the week after and host Penn State.
Oh, you think that's an improvement, do you?
That's a bit of a jump. They take on the 14th and 11th ranked defenses, respectively, in the country in these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and both those defenses rapidly improving with young players.
First down, goal for 40. Samuel well protected. Time to look over the middle and find his tight end, Eric Graham. Good for 19 yards. First down from the 20, and the Badgers are starting to roll.
When Mike Samuel is rated last in the league in yardage, people forget that he's 3rd in the league in passing efficiency. All he does is win. This is hard to do, folks. The big guy, Grahams, comes down with the ball. Excellent concentration by Eric Grahams to make that catch. And a good throw by Samuel, his best throw of the day.
Poole hit him with all he had. Graham hangs on. 9th play of the drive. Dane tries to turn the corner. It's close to 5 before he's run up by Tyrone Carter. Tomorrow night, the NFL in prime time on ESPN. Sunday Night Football, 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific, featuring a battle of teams looking to get over 500. 4-4 Tampa Bay, coming off their huge win over the Vikings, and 4-4 Tennessee. And Monday Night Football begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and features Brett Favre and the Packers taking on the Steelers from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. ESPN at ABC, your exclusive home for primetime NFL football. Both wideouts left side. Dane going right for only one. It'll be 3rd and 4, the tackle by Park Williams. And usually by now, Bill, Dane has broken a 15, a 20-yarder or more, and Williams and the Gopher defense preventing that big gainer so far.
But whether he has done that or not, Wisconsin really doesn't worry. They just keep pounding and pounding. And I'm going to remind everybody of that because this is what they do. This is their style. Look where they are. They're on the 14-yard line. They got a 3-point lead, and they're doing exactly what they want to do. The big guy has had the ball 14 times. They don't care what his average per carry is. They want to beat you up and have you demoralized by the 4th quarter.
Marcanelli in motion. Samuel, incomplete flag. It's intended for Chambers, and they flag Craig Scruggs, who saw Ty Streets in his sleep probably all week. Scruggs burned early and often by Streets last week. Turns out he was sick all Friday. They had to get IVs in him to get him ready for the game, and he refused to come out. Very game performance. And they will nail him for interference here.
Yeah, and he's playing his 42nd consecutive start. That's really hard to do. Here's the call.
Pass interference against the defense. Ball is placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
The question here is whether or not this is a catchable ball. Good move by Chambers to get inside. It's definitely interference. He's all over his back. The officials have to make the judgment. Craig's smart enough that he probably knows he shouldn't pull his hands up there. That's an admission of guilt. Whoop, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. They're going to flag you, Craig, when you throw those hands up. The judgment call was whether or not the ball was catchable.
From the 2, 1st and goal, out of the eye, give it to Dane. And with the spin, he's in. Touchdown for the Great Dane. A Big Ten leading 11th touchdown of the year for Ron Dane. Wisconsin finally breaking through with 6 points and a Davenport PAT away from a 10-point lead. .31 out of 33 for the year for the senior out of Mission Viejo, California. And another one, 10-0 Badgers. Ron Dane, the junior from Berlin, New Jersey. Already the all-time rusher in Wisconsin history. As the Badgers up 10-0.
Here at VMI, we were asked to try the new Norelco Advantage for 21 days. There was quiet dissension.
These are for wussies, man. I'm not giving out my blade.
And anxious inquiry.
The heck is this? Goo?
Some of us were sure it wouldn't shave close.
I'm gonna get demerits using this.
But then we started to realize the lotion actually gave us a closer, smoother shave than we expected, without the nicks and cuts like blades.
How many squirts are you using?
About 1 per cheek.
That lotion made it feel kind of like a wet shave.
Hey, this feels really cool.
After a while, our fear diminished. Our hopes arose, and life got a little less hairy.
Come on, babyface, move it.
The new Norelco Advantage. Put it to the test. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back, guaranteed.
When sports cream? When legs are sore. When backs ache. When muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Rubbing it in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Pardon me, lady?
Can you believe the price of popcorn?
Crime against humanity.
Everything costs an arm and a leg.
Not everything. You can get all your long-distance calls for under $1.
He's talking about 10, 10, 2, 20. Dial it and talk up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents.
Very wise for his age.
Talk over 20 minutes, then what?
Yeah, and then what?
Just 10 cents for each extra minute.
That's cheap. How is it possible? How does popcorn pop? Who cares?
Yeah, just dial 10, 10, 2, 20 and talk up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents.
Fall back, Sarge. You're moistening my ear.
Well, that a 34th school record for Ron Dane. Career touchdowns as he again separates himself from Billy Merrick, his 47th, with time still remaining in his junior year. 11th this season, tops in the conference, and it's 10-0. Carter and Henderson back waiting for the kick by Pisetsky, who with the wind at his back should prevent a return. But again, he just misses that pylon. That's the second time he's come close to angling it out of bounds in the end zone. Let's check in again with Chris Fowler.
Well, Dave, the Eagles have tied the Fighting Irish up at Chestnut Hill. Scott Mutrin, watch the pretty catch here by Anthony DeCosmo in the end zone. 9 minutes to go in the first half. It's now tied at 14. Missouri all over Colorado. A defensive touchdown. Just kicked a field goal. 17-zip in Columbia, guys.
Well, important series here for the Gophers. Enough time to make an extended drive. They just gave up almost a 6-minute march, which Dane capped on the 11th play. Samuel was perfect. Big pass, the one to his tight end Grams, and then the interference call at the 2, where they flagged Craig Scruggs. Jack Teat says official timeout. Cockerham all the way quarterback. Wide receiver Ryan Keller got most of the snaps in practice this week as Cockerham nursed his bruised right shoulder. They left it up to him. He decided he could go. And not bad numbers so far, 5 out of 7 as Keller stands at the ready just in case. Meyer and Evans hurdling up the middle for about 4 into the arms again of Tom Burt.
If you love football, you love Tom Burt. If you're a football coach, you love him more. 3 changes of direction. He runs down the swift quarterback, sliding down the line of scrimmage, picking up the tailback, driving him on his back. Everything that football is about is what Burt does. It's an adventure to watch him.
Cockerham guns it over the middle for Ron Johnson, who was separated from it on the 45, and they're going to rule him down there where he should have a first down. They say the ground caused this, not Mike Eccles.
Tough judgment call. Another nice throw by Cockerham. Ron Johnson, the freshman wide receiver. Impossible to tell. Impossible. I think he was probably down. The official was right on the spot. It's their responsibility to make those calls.
From the 47, pump fake going deep, wide open is Leverson. Caught it in stride at the 20 and takes it home. 47 yards. Minnesota is on the board.
Now, this is not what Wisconsin counts on. Big plays, a busted coverage. Leverson with a pump fake, out and up, and a beautiful, well-executed throw. Nice protection, everything by Minnesota. You got to take your hat off to Cockerham. He's been taking a whipping out here today, stands in there with people at his feet. A perfect throw to his great player, Luke Leverson, who takes it in the end zone. A gritty, scrappy Minnesota team coming back.
53-yard strike to Leverson, the extra point by Bailey, and it is 10-7. Cockerham telling Keller that shoulder feels better every play. Well, with the Badgers, it's drip, drip, drip. 2 yards here, 3 yards there, and the Gophers quite the opposite. Take only 3 plays.
Glenn Mason and Steve Loney know that they're not going to grind it out and beat this team. They know they've got to go deep with the ball and just hope that they can get a play like this. Cockerham loves it. I'm going to tell you, if his right shoulder were hurting, he wouldn't be holding that finger up. And a little, well, Steve, you could smile a little bit. We already shown you who Steve is. All very matter-of-fact, strictly business. Outstanding football coach and an outstanding person, Steve Loney.
Mason said they were really depressed in the locker room, as you would expect, after coming so close. Many, many chances to knock off Michigan last week before finally falling 15-10, but he brought them back up. They had a good week of practice. And last week is a distant memory at this point. Here comes Davis from the 4. Nick Davis, always a threat to take one all the way. 28-yard return here.
Ron Dane has averaged 5.8 yards per carry for his entire career. Today, 3.7 against this gritty Minnesota defense. That is on first down. 1st and 10 is the one that counts. Remember, they want to come up 2nd and 6 or less so that they can maintain what they like to do, which is to grind you down. Minnesota has taken them out of their plan defensively and offensively in this game.
15 carries for 42 yards, less than 3 yards per carry. So far, that one is deflected from Samuel as he let it go, and the Gophers say we recovered it. And they have it at the 30. We waited to see if they'd call that an incomplete pass. Minnesota gets the takeaway. Ben Mesera is the man who jarred it loose from Mike Samuel just as he drew it back.
I believe Park Williams, 37, caught this thing in the air. Great rush by Park Williams. No, it's popped up in the air, and it's Hoffman that ends up with it. He's fighting with Slick. They both want it, but the bottom line is Minnesota has it at the 30.
Williams causes it. Hoffman gets it and quickly batted down. Eric Malik, defensive tackle.
Eric Malik, another former walk-on now. We've talked about 3 of them. Donnell Thompson being the 4th on that defensive unit. Outstanding play from former walk-ons. One of the top defenses in America with 4 former walk-ons. Not your normal situation in Division 1A football. Nice play by Eric to get his hands up.
Well, 78,000 aroused with the lead suddenly in jeopardy. Play clock winding down on Cockerham. Hamner cut down from behind. Ross Kalaji, who gets sort of lost in the shuffle between Favre and Burke and all their heroics. They time him in sub 4.9 speed. He can move for a defensive tackle.
This is tough to do for a defensive lineman. He beats the block back of the fine center, Wes Hamilton's. Actually, it's Wes Hamilton's son there, Ben, plays center for Minnesota, and runs it back down from behind.
Cockerham with a blitz coming. Chased by Godorsey. Lets it go incomplete. Closest man to it was Bobby Myers, the safety. And the Gophers move backward after their first takeaway.
And why isn't Luke Leverson open like he usually is? Maybe just a little bit of, whoops, a little bit of hold. Actually, Leverson's got a hold of Fletcher's shirt. So
right in front of an official.
Holding whom here?
Official choosing to look at something other than the contact about 5 feet away from him. He'll try and play Coffin corner with Rindles, hanging it up deep. Too deep. That is a disappointment for Minnesota where they took that ball away. Let's get another update from Chris Fowler.
At this moment, only one Big Ten quarterback has ever thrown more touchdown passes in a season than Purdue's Drew Brees. Today, he's thrown his 3rd, A.T. Simpson. He now has 25, 2 away from the all-time record of Bobby Hoying.
And Drew Brees may put that thing out of anybody's reach but his own. He's got a couple more years to try and challenge his own mark if he does indeed set it.
Well, I think he's going to be a great player. Glenn Mason right here knows that he just missed. He and his team missed one of those golden opportunities. They're going to have to capitalize on that.
First down up the middle, Dane. One of his better efforts, he gets 6 or 7 into the arms of Tyrone Carter, whose name we haven't called quite as often. He's second in the Big Ten, 15 tackles per game. Barry Alvarez has said, I haven't seen anybody get a hat consistently on Tyrone Carter all year, but having said that, he figured that he could become the first to do so successfully.
Yeah, and the Minnesota coaches anticipated it. Coach Gibbs, the defensive coordinator, said, we think they'll try to get a blocker on Tyrone. Tyrone hadn't made a lot of plays today, but you can bet he will.
Samuel looking deep. Underthrown, intended for Ahmad Merritt. Down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave and Bill, what a wave of emotion has gone here at the Minnesota sideline throughout those big plays. First, the Leverson touchdown catch. Guys jumping up and down, screaming at each other. This is what Minnesota football is all about. Then a turnover. Park Williams came off the sideline. He was talking about the great job they've done in rushing the passer. Now, even though they couldn't convert off that turnover and get a touchdown or a field goal, still very upbeat down here, guys. They feel positive. They're right back in this game with Wisconsin today.
That's the second youngest defensive coordinator in D1, 30-year-old Dave Gibbs, who has orchestrated this incredible improvement this year by the Gopher D. Samuel on a roll, and this time a strike for Merritt. Bounced between Scruggs and Dimmy, but he picks up 11.
One of the things that Wisconsin loves to do in their formationing is to put both of their big offensive tackles on the same side. Here they are, Big Gibson, Big McIntosh, tight end back over here, unbalanced, and then sprint to it or run the ball to it. Nice protection, nobody getting through those big hats, those big bodies. Samuel makes a good throw. I think he probably throws better on the run than he does from the drop back.
This time a fake to Dane on first down and deep for Chambers and just overthrown. Covered by Willie Middlebrooks. And we talked about the freshman corners for Wisconsin. Here's a freshman that the Gophers are really starting to get excited about. They love his potential.
One of the best freshman players I've seen this year is Willie Middlebrooks. He was moved from free safety during training camp this season and is adjusting to the corner position beautifully. Did a nice job on Ty Streets last week, after Streets had already done most of his damage, but nonetheless, this guy's going to be a big leaguer.
Well, he is big, at least at 6'2". Timeout, Wisconsin. 2:56 remaining in the first half, and Wisconsin clinging.
When you're celebrating a birthday, there's a tendency to feel, well, old, especially when you turn 150. But then you think of gene therapy, artificial intelligence, mining the moon, and all of the music and poetry yet to be written. That's when you realize that things are just starting to get interesting. The University of Wisconsin-Madison, your resource for a lifetime.
Well, very much in the tradition of the recent Paul Bunyan Axe meetings, close in Madison. 10-7 Wisconsin. They're down to their last time out of the first half with 2:56 to go. Had the field pretty much in control when they took the 10-0 lead on the short Dane touchdown, and then just like that, quick takeaway by Minnesota. They got the 53-yard touchdown strike for Leverson. They're right back in it. And they force a 2nd and 10. Option pitch for Dane. Flag is down. Dane up the side of the 43, where he's tackled by Park Williams.
And for the offensive coaches and players, not a good place for that flag to be thrown.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty, spot of the foul, repeat 2nd down.
And with a look at what's coming up at the half, Chris Fowler.
Well, Dave, thank you. Kirk and Lee will join me on the National Car Rental Halftime Report. An update from Ann Arbor. Penn State's just missed another short field goal. BC hanging right with Notre Dame, and Air Force looking strong at West Point. That's all coming up at the break.
All right, Barry Alvarez And number 7, Wisconsin, backed up to their 27. Their second penalty, causing second down and 20. Double tight end. They come after Samuel, who got it off just in time for Dane. Room to ramble up the side. A hit by Middlebrooks at the 39-yard line. He picks up 13, and it'll be 3rd and 7. They don't call on Dane to do this much.
I haven't seen Wisconsin throw 2 or 3 screens this year. I think it's a great idea. I really think they should do more of it because it gets Dane out in the open with 3 big blockers in front of him, and he's like I said earlier, would you like to step up and make that play under a full head of steam?
Like I said earlier, no.
Yeah, you're as intelligent as I had thought, David.
That is just Dane's second catch all year. 50% on the 3rd down. Shotgun for Samuel. Broke down into the arms of Dyron Russ, who has played most of the way today at left tackle instead of Antoine Richard, and Russ finally breaks through and sacks Mike Samuel.
Wonderful call by the Minnesota coaches. What they got is Poole is going to drop off here. No, it's Schlecht that's dropping off, and he runs with Dane. Samuel has to pull the ball down. That was a little delay to the tailback. They were going to throw the ball to Dane again. Schlecht looped out into Poole's normal area, came off and covered the tailback. This defensive tackle, Schlecht, does a little bit of everything.
Minnesota has called its second timeout. Again, coming up, we have the National Car Rental Halftime Report for you with Kirk, Lee, and Chris. And among the stories they will cover, the Big Ten Bowl picture, Notre Dame and Boston College highlights. Much more coming up, the National Car Rental Halftime Report. Somebody said Mike Samuel best described as a cross between Billy Kilmer and Joe Cap. Is that a compliment? I think they meant it as a compliment.
Well, when I questioned whether or not they meant off the field and on the field, they specified on the field.
Definitely on the field, yes. 4th and 16. Stemke on the punt. Leverson back waiting for it. Will be able to return this one from the 21. Looks for an alley up the middle. And to the 33. A 48-yard kick brought back 12 in Minnesota with a minute 20 to work with and 1 timeout.
Really nice work by the Minnesota defense. Good calls. Just got to be impressed with what they've pulled off here to keep the Wisconsin attack well under its averages.
They come out 3 wides. Johnson, Henderson right side. Leverson is on the left, and Cockrum's in the gun. First quarterback draw of the day, maybe the last. That one didn't work at all. Burke and Favre made sure.
Normally when the end comes up the field that quickly, the quarterback can get underneath him. But Burke, with his remarkable athletic ability, no, he's on a stunt. Okay, I gave him too much credit. It was a stunt. That was what we call a TE, the tackle looping out, the end coming underneath, and he stunted himself right into the play. A good defensive call by Kevin Cosgrove, probably anticipating something like a quarterback draw.
Which Cockrem ran a whole lot more often than he has today. Thomas Hamner back to about the original line of scrimmage, and Chris Cadorsey makes the stop there. The Badgers' leading tackler, Mason, not real happy about it, not calling timeout yet, as we're under 20 seconds.
Well, Minnesota's not going to call timeout. They are wisely running the clock out here for the second half. They're not in the field position to try to throw a ball up on a Big Ben play.
Wisconsin has had some less than stellar first halves, and the victory at Indiana comes to mind, where Barry Alvarez had to make One of his more effective halftime speeches of the year. They pulled out everything so far, and they are leading by only 3 here, trying to stay perfect. 10-7. To the studio and Chris Fowler.
Dave, thanks. About what Lee and Kirk expected, the problem for the Gophers has been finishing these games. Coming up on our National Car Rental Halftime Report, all the scores and highlights. Penn State, miscues, missed opportunities, and Michigan muscle, the story so far in Ann Arbor. We're coming right back.
Hands full with the Golden Gophers as we get set for the start of the second half. Dave Barnett and Bill Curry. Minnesota got them right where they want them.
I don't know if you ever got these guys right where you want them, but Minnesota has definitely put a kink in the Wisconsin plan. Wisconsin's not able to just do exactly what they want to. They're averaging 3.9 yards per carry on first down, and that doesn't sound too bad until you consider the fact that they haven't been able to get the ball in the end zone like they would like. They've ganged up on first down. Ron Dane has been hammered. 6, 7, 8 white jerseys on him just about every time he runs the ball, even hitting him in the backfield. And then when Minnesota had a chance on offense, the pump fake, the throw deep to Leverson, and they're right in this football game. Now the turnover, hit on the rush by Park Williams. The ball's intercepted, and Minnesota has a good opportunity to win this game. The question is, can they withstand the withering attack of Wisconsin for another 30 minutes?
Badgers set to kick to get the second half underway. Kosetsky. This time does force the touchback for Antoine Henderson, and the Gophers will go from their 20. And this week it is Minnesota that's in negative territory on the ground as they held Michigan last week for the first time in 32 years. Most of their yardage on the one play, the 53-yard Cochran to Leverson strike. 95 through the year, 94 total. 3 yards per carry, all by Dane. 16 carries, 48 yards for Dane, and in total on the ground for Wisconsin. And just a 3-point lead. 3 wideouts in the I formation for Cochran, who has gone all the way at quarterback for Minnesota. A yard for Thomas Hamner. Let's check in with Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave and Bill, as you can imagine here on the sidelines, Glenn Mason very pleased with his team's defense in the first half, especially against the run. He felt very good about their ability to string out Samuel and the option attack of Wisconsin, forcing them to give the ball right up the middle of Ron Dane, where they're waiting for him. They feel without that big 3rd down and 20 pass play that led to the touchdown for Wisconsin in the first half, Minnesota should be ahead 7-3, guys.
Cochran into the dirt. That time, low and behind Luke Leverson. Billy Cochran has really improved quite a bit. If you look at those numbers last week to this week.
I think his shoulder's better this week. I mean, he seemed to injure it last week, or re-injure it early in that game. That hasn't happened in this game, and he seems to be getting a little stronger as the game progresses, and he'll need to.
Matchup to watch right there. Goring, though, coming on a safety blitz. It is thrown again behind the intended receiver, Ron Johnson, this time. And the Badgers turn in a 3-and-out to begin the third quarter.
The real deal right here is whether or not Minnesota can maintain the enthusiasm and the intensity with which they're playing. Wisconsin, I can't say it enough times, keeps pounding away. They will do that if they come out here in the third quarter.
Excellent day so far for Rendell. Hunting again into the wind as he has much of the afternoon. This time a Badger roll, and they'll start in Gopher territory at the 47-yard line. On just a 26-yard punt by Rendell. Dave Ryan again.
Well, guys, Barry Alvarez at halftime spoke to you a few moments ago about the team's inability to move the ball on the ground. He was very concerned. What he really wants in the second half, Dave and Bill, is a good tempo. Good established tempo and a long drive here in the second half, because he knows Minnesota's run defense hasn't surprised them. Very, very solid against the Badger offensive attack.
The only time they got a long drive is when they got the 2-yard touchdown run at the end of it by Ron Dane. And they go Dane on first down, and that's fairly typical for this game. The Gophers swarm him and hold him to a pickup of about 3.
Football is a game of collisions Ball security and field position. Now, this is the first time that I can recall that Wisconsin started a drive in Minnesota territory today. They're accustomed to starting drives in very favorable field position. They've come right out to run the power play. They didn't make much, but again, they're sticking with their plan. They actually threw 5 passes on first down in the first half. That is uncharacteristic.
Dane again, bang, behind the line of scrimmage. David Gibbs has seen his game plan executed pretty much to perfection.
Sean Hoffman, I can't emphasize enough what a fine job this middle linebacker's doing. Number 45 takes on Dane, mano a mano, chest to chest, and stones him at the line of scrimmage.
Loss to bring up 3rd and 9. Dane has had his way with the Gophers in the first 2 meetings, but not today. Not yet. Samuel, when he drops deep, Chase gets it off for Dane. Not enough for the first, and Ron Dane in the game plan as a receiver today. 1 catch all year.
That was a little today. Yeah, a little tailback delay where they wanted to get the ball to Dane. It was actually a dangerous throw in traffic. Sean Hoffman made a big play to bring up this 4th down situation.
And Alvarez makes no move for the special team. Samuel stays in. 4th and 2 from the 38-yard line of the Gophers.
This will be interesting.
This will be Samuel on the option. First down flush. To the 33. Finally the hit there by Park Williams.
Yeah, and the first quarterback to lead Wisconsin to 3 consecutive 8-win seasons in the history of the program. Mike Samuel takes things into his own hands here. He has no intention of pitching this ball. He's going to make this first down. The old blue-collar leader of the offensive unit, Mike Samuel, keeps this drive alive.
Earl Bevel and Mike Samuel winningest in school history. Eddie Faulkner gets the first carry by anybody other than Dane and Samuel today. Sean Hoffman makes another hit. Faulkner, sophomore from Muncie, Indiana, hadn't seen all that much action this year. And quickly right back in is Ron Dane after a loss officially of 1.
The Wisconsin system plays into the hands of a program like Minnesota that just gangs up on first down run. It's working for Minnesota right now.
The 31-yard line. Gophers have been real consistent about that, and Keith Demme, as we said, the only hope he has, go low. Hope that's enough. It was this time.
Go low. Demme weighs about 165 pounds. If he's got a concrete block in his back pocket, he tackles him. Actually, it was with the shoestring. And Ron's not happy. He knows he should have picked his feet up and run through that tackle. And if he had, he's in the end zone.
So 3rd and 8. And Williams comes after Samuel, gets picked up deep for Chambers, incomplete. With Willie Middlebrooks providing the coverage.
Great job by number 60, Bill Ferrario, to allow the throw there. He pulls. It looks like Park Williams. Here's Ferrario is going to come in this direction. Watch this. Nice job. He launches Park Williams to allow Samuel to get that ball off.
So they will try from 48 yards out a Matt Davenport kick. It would be his longest of the year by 1 yard. Rosga with the hold. Wind at his back. Does he have enough? Yes! Off the crossbar and over.
The first guy I ever saw do that was Lou Groza. I'm not kidding. played against Groza in '66. He bounced it off the upright.
Well, Matt Davenport is up for the Luke Groza Award for the best kicker in college football. That won't hurt.
This is life. This is getting every mile you can out of life. And this is how you get there. Kelly Charger high-performance tires are engineered for long mileage. Of course, that's no guarantee you'll live harder or go farther. Just an invitation.
When we drafted Tim Duncan, I invited him to my home to get ready for the season. He was learning so much.
That doesn't count. You were out.
The roses are out, Timmy, not the daisies. So one day, you brought this into my home.
That's something I'm proud of.
I calmly explained how Edge Pro Gel protects better than foam because it has 8 rich lubricants.
David sure know how to make a guy feel comfortable.
More lemonade, Tim?
Edge Pro Gel. Save your skin.
The roses, Tim, are out of bounds.
Go with the gnomes. The gnomes can be out of bounds.
No.
Prodigy Internet has fast email. So you spend less time online and more time on life. Prodigy Internet.
If you could play anywhere in the U.S. for free, where would you go? Sandy beaches or Powder Slopes? The Big Apple or the Big Easy? 1-800-COLLECT is giving away 50 pairs of airline tickets, a pair a day for 50 days. Just complete a 1-800-COLLECT call and you're automatically entered for a chance to win. And there's a new winner for every day. The more 1-800-COLLECT calls you make, the more chances you have to win. Free airline tickets from 1-800-COLLECT. The easy way to stay in touch and save.
ESPN's presentation of Big Ten football is brought to you by Kelly Tires. A good deal on a great tire.
13-7 on the Davenport 48-yard kick. Badgers up 6. Pasetsky up to his usual tricks. Tough to return one against the strong leg of former member of the Russian national soccer team. And Davenport luckily had the wind at his back because he didn't really get all of this.
He actually missed this ball. Now, this is the leading kicker in college football. He needs to kick the ball right in this vicinity, and what he does is he scoops it. It's kind of like a chili dip with your wedge, and he popped it up. Fortunately, he had the wind, and he got a nice bounce. Boop, 3 points. Cockerham, deflected and intercepted and then dropped. And loose at the 22. The Badgers saying they got it there as well. It was Godorsey with the interception. And then he quickly coughed it up. No signal yet at the 22, except from the Badger players. John Favre comes up from the bottom of the pile. Wisconsin will take over, and Luke Leverson will not get up yet from the bottom of that pile. Fletcher's very close to interference here. He's sort of on the back, and yet he doesn't put the backhand on the rear part. I don't know if that was an interception. This looks a little bit like dodgeball, kicking back and forth. But when you're flying around, when you're having a great year, these are the things that happen. Somebody with a red shirt comes up with a ball. Leverson helped up. Yeah, the question was, did Godorsey have it long enough for that to be a fumble? They said he did. Timeout.
I couldn't agree more.
Range Rover, the most remarkable 4x4 in the world.
Yeah, listen up, mate.
Hey, if any one of you can hit a bullseye, I'll buy you a steak dinner. Did I say bullseye? I'm in a triple 20. Did I say triple 20?
For a meal that hits the spot every time, get to Outback Steakhouse.
Did I say blindfolded?
When sports cream, when legs are sore, when backs ache, when muscles hurt. Wise Sports Cream, rubbing it in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell. Wise Sports Cream, because it works.
Touchdown, Miami. Flutie flush. Throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it. The Eagles win it. Credit Chris Godorsey with his second interception of the year, and for the 31st time this year, the Badgers take over in the opponent's end of the field. The opponents have taken over in the Badgers' end of the field 4 times. How well do they play the field position game? And the takeaway game better than anybody. They have it at the 23 of Minnesota. 2 tight ends. They run option. Dane with a pitch. Fred Scruggs hits him low, and he dribbles that one out of bounds, but they rule him dead after a pickup of 2. Gophers had to wonder, did this count as possession for Godorsey?
Watch Godorsey here. He never controls the football. The ball is always bounding around. Officials are human. They can't always see everything. That really was just an incomplete pass. This is where Leverson took it on the chin, because Godorsey lands right on top of Leverson. Very significant, because Leverson's got to be the big play guy.
Dane Pyle driving ahead to the 15. Arkansas and Ole Miss. An update, Chris Fowler.
Yeah, like the Badgers, Dave, the Hogs keep finding a way to win. Today, the way is Clint Sterner going up top to Anthony Lucas. On a 3rd and 13, they hook up for 36 yards at halftime in Fayetteville, 14-zip Arkansas. Guys.
At the Nut House. In honor of Houston Nut. They do now.
I had not heard that. It's the Nut House with 2 T's there.
3rd and 2 Badgers. Offset eye this time. Samuel on a roll. Open. Cecil Martin stays in bounds or no. They'll say out of bounds at the 6, where it will be 1st and goal. Even to come that close to staying in, that is great agility for 6'2", 235, Cecil Martin.
Indeed, he does have great agility, but Cecil's having a bad sideline day. He barely missed a great catch a while ago because of touching the sideline, and here he missed the chance for a touchdown, a rare opportunity for Cecil, just because his foot barely touches. Good call, though, by the official, right on the spot.
So 1st and goal from there. Eric Rams in motion out of the eye. It's to Dane, as they do usually on 1st down, and ahead to the 3. Antoine Richard with the tackle. Let's see what happened to Luke Leverson in that pileup. Dave Ryan.
Yeah, Dave, Luke Leverson badly sprained left thumb, but he was hit in that last series. Now he's having it heavily taped right now. The team trainers hope he can return to the lineup the next time Minnesota gets the ball. But Dave and Bill, I tell you, Luke has been double over in pain the last 30 seconds. It is not comfortable right now for him. We wonder how well he can grip the ball when he gets back out there.
Linemen can play with that. I don't know about a wideout. Dane again straight ahead. Inside the 2, 3rd and goal from there.
One thing we haven't covered, Dave, that we should say, the thing that makes Dane such a load down here is not just that he's a big guy or that he's fast, although he is both of those things. He is low. He gets his pads down. He doesn't give you a lot of target. There's just gristle and power when you try to tackle him in this region.
Only 5'10" when he stands straight up.
Well, that's right. Now we got Gibson out there at the tight end position again, number 79, 365 at tight end.
Samuel on a roll had to get rid of that one because he was under some heat from Sean Hoffman.
Good block by Ron Dane. I can't say that I've seen Dane have to block very much, but when he has to seal the corner for his quarterback, Samuel does a nice job, cuts his man right down on the ground. Number 33 right there. Actually, that was Tyrone Carter he cut down. David Gibbs likes this a lot. They've kept him out of the end zone from the 2-yard line. That is very, very difficult to do.
Forcing a 19-yard Davenport attempt.
Tough angle for a right-footed kicker.
Well, no problem from that. Gibbs group for the third time forces the Badgers to settle for Davenport for 3, and the lead is 9.
Be a part of the action with our Turner Cup champions, the Chicago Wolves. The Wolves offer a variety of money-saving ticket packages, including 10 and 20-game plans and the new Flex Pack, letting you choose the games you want to see. Remember, seats start at just $9. Call 1-800-THE-WOLVES.
It's almost Thanksgiving. Time for Empire's huge factory-authorized pre-holiday sale. Most of us are really excited. Right now, save 50% on all our better quality carpets. We'll bring samples right to your home. And we can install next day with no payments until the year 2000. Plus a free turkey. 50% off carpet plus a free turkey. Don't worry. It's a limited time offer.
588-2300 Empire.
For ESPN Sunday Night Football. This week, Eddie George and the Oilers will try to climb back into the hunt when they take on Warwick Dunn and the resurgent Buccaneers. ESPN Sunday Night Football. Coverage begins at 8:15.
Now that sounds like a great game. I don't want to miss it.
Tradition is reborn on ESPN2. Friday Night Fight, showcasing today's best talent and classic bouts from the past. This week, Hurtado takes on Gomez, plus a look at the best pound-for-pound boxers of all time. Friday Night Fights, Friday at 8 on ESPN2.
Well, this one turning into the typical Wisconsin game now, 16-7, under 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. Second time they score after a takeaway. Antoine Henderson finally can bring one back from the 4. Squirts through. He was real close to taking that one back. 96 yards. As it is, it's 24 yards. Vicar Pasetsky came down to make the hit. Minnesota in the first half started at their own 35 and Wisconsin at their own 23. Now that's a complete reverse of how Wisconsin played all year long. Second half, that's more how the Badger field position comparison has been for the year. They have averaged taking it over 14 yards better than they have allowed their opponents to take over. Amherst squeezing ahead of the 31-yard line. Tom Burke, another tackle.
You know, Burke, even at practice, I go to practice on Thursday. It's about 30 degrees out here. The guy's in shorts and shoulder pads. He doesn't even know what pain means. He just plays hard all the time. All you young linemen out there, if you want to know how to play football, watch Burke. It's full speed with the pads down, the pads square every play.
Cockerham with a little room, a little pump fake, and then driven out of bounds by the strong safety, Leonard Taylor.
Now, the other thing, there's a little risk. When you play like Burke, you're going to get double teamed. He gets more double teams than Jerry Rice. And right here, 2 big tackles knock him down. Actually, Howe has now moved to guard, number 77. Howe, seeing him on the ground, loved it and leaped on him. I don't blame you, Adam. I'd jump on him, too.
Leverson is in the game. 3 wideouts, but he's not the target here. It's Ron Johnson. Minnesota first down, the catch at the 42. For the freshman out of Detroit, Leverson will try to play with that sprained left thumb.
Very difficult to make this catch. Ron Johnson and Cockrum combined to keep this controlled passing game very effective on first down. 3-step drops, critical part of the game plan.
A lot less happy feet from Cockrum this week. Stands in there, and one up deep. No flag, incomplete. Purdue and Northwestern, an update. Chris.
Yeah, and it's another Drew Brees touchdown pass, Dave. This one 7 yards to Tim Stratton. Boilermakers all over the Wildcats, and Brees now one touchdown pass away from Bobby Hoying's single-season Big Ten record, now with 28. We'll keep you posted.
Well, at that pace, it'll be a shock if he doesn't get it today, with even the third quarter. Cockrum with the play clock against him, still trying to get the call off, and did he get the timeout called in time? Officials will have to sort this out, and he did.
Very small thing, Dave. He did this better this week than he did a week ago.
5:42 in the third. Gophers trying to strike back, trailing 16-7.
Do rich people have more friends than the rest of us? Are they more deserving of a comfortable seat? Are they more entitled to brake safely on a rainy day? Are we the only car company that doesn't think so? Century by Buick. Full of amenities for under $20,000. Loaded for under $24,000. Century by Buick. A luxury car for everyone.
I do kitchens, I do bathrooms, I do family rooms. I do not do insurance. I want to be treated like I feel I treat my clients. I want to be treated like I am their only client. Michelle Deuceman treats me the same way I want to be treated. I have my cars, all of my household. I need somebody that I can get advice from. I know that when I need them the most, they're going to be there.
Get to know your State Farm agent.
It's a great relationship.
This November,
Our former water boy is going to play some linebacker for us.
Bobby Boucher is breaking records
The amazing 31-year-old freshman sacking the quarterback 16 times.
and breaking hearts.
That girl you're seeing?
They stud. Girls are the devil. He can hang out with whoever he wants. Except you.
Adam Sandler,
I like Vicky. She likes me back.
the Water Boy.
Well, did he tell you about how much his feet smell?
Rated PG-13. Now playing.
Already week-to-week growth very evident for Billy Cockrum, who last week was not able to get a timeout called in a similar situation. With the play clock expiring, stands in and again fires a strike for Johnson, the son of the former Pittsburgh Steeler defensive back, a member of two of their world championship teams. 14 yards, another first down.
This is beautiful football. This is what Cockrum would not do a week ago. Set his feet, step up, and throw on rhythm. One of the most difficult passes for a quarterback is the out cut. This is for any quarterback. Beautiful execution by Minnesota's offensive unit.
Well, for a guy who maybe wasn't supposed to play at all, what strides he has made. Hamner maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage, cut down there by Leonard Taylor. Billy Cockrum doesn't look like the same player.
This is a courageous performance, but I think more importantly, it's a maturity, a growth performance. You asked me last week when they were in trouble there late in the game, is this just something that he can't do? And I said, no, he hasn't been getting the reps. Well, he's a week older, literally. He played that game. He had that experience. Obviously, he's processed it intellectually, and you're right, he's a different player. He's doing a heck of a job.
It's picked up, another out, and another interception for Fletcher.
And another lesson for the young quarterback, Billy Cockrum. When you're playing against an athlete like Jamar Fletcher, you've got to remember that he has enormous ability to change directions and break on the ball. A judgment call throwing the out cut across the field. A judgment decision by the quarterback. I think I can get that ball there before Fletcher can break on it. See, his shoulders are turned. Now watch him turn and accelerate from this point. He goes from here to here quicker than most mortals can. That's the making of a great corner. Looking at it from another angle now. This is Fletcher's perspective. What a great play by the freshman corner, number 2, Jamar Fletcher.
His 5th of the year, leading the Big Ten in picks. Here's Ron Dane. On the sweep to the 45, a gain of 13. Mostly up the middle, but it's not as if he can't get outside.
Badger football. Take the ball away from you and then start to hammer you again. And yes, Ron Dane can run outside. We saw him run outside here earlier this year. He bounces out, deceptive speed. The thing about a big guy like this, he doesn't look like he's running fast, so pursuers take poor angles.
Oregon headed right this time, and they were ready for him in mass. That'll lose about 4.
Number 95, John Michael.
Tyron Russ, Tyrone Carter getting there first. They've allowed only 1 touchdown today. It was a 2-yard run by Dane at the end of a long drive, covered almost 6 minutes. Other than that, nothing but 3.
Going into the 3rd quarter, I said Minnesota's going to have to stand up to the withering pressure, and I do mean withering, that Wisconsin applies. This is a critical series for them. And it lasts all 60 minutes. The big guys pick up your marbles.
Dane trying to go left, maybe 1. Wrapped up by Park Williams. If David Gibbs has any voice left after this game, that will be an upset.
I think he takes it on himself to keep his men motivated. He's a very lively presence on the sideline, a very good thing for a defensive coordinator to do. His physical animation is transmitted to his players. I really believe in that sort of thing.
We asked him yesterday, do you really expect to completely stop Wisconsin's ground game, best in the Big Ten? He said, we expect to stop everybody's ground game, and they pretty much have this year. 7th best run defense in the country. Samuel stepping up into a sack at the 37. Park Williams, first contact. Matt Anderle quickly there to join him, and the Badgers will have to kick it away.
Superb job by the Minnesota secondary. Everybody was covered. Samuel wisely pulled the ball down and took the sack.
So the kick by Stemke. A bomb, which takes a sideways hop and is killed at the 1. He'll never hit one better than that. 61 yards, killed at the 1-yard line by Dante King.
You won't see a better athletic play this year. Dante King, speaking of changing directions, look at this. Beautiful. And what a kick by Stemke. The youngster from Green Bay, Wisconsin, came in as a freshman a year ago, set a standard for himself, and then continues to improve upon it. Field position football. Can't do it any better than that.
Now they're whipped into a frenzy at Camp Randall as the Gophers throw out of their own end zone. High floater for Johnson, who comes down with it out of bounds. Chris Fowler, an update on Florida Vanderbilt.
And the Gators use their very best players on special teams. The super freak linebacker Javon Curse with the block. The other star linebacker Mike Peterson picks it off, rumbles in the end zone. 14-3. Penn State down 20-0 now. Jay Phillies just kicked another field goal.
Next week, Wisconsin at Michigan. Badgers hope to go into that one 9-0. 2:17 to go in the 3rd quarter of this one, up by 9. Gophers again with Cochran looking out of his end zone. Chased by Burke, gets it off, and broken up by Fletcher. Intended for Leverson. We knew that would be a fun matchup to watch, and we haven't been disappointed.
Defensive backs have to do a couple of things well. Number one, they've got to be able to read things and anticipate. And number two, they've got to be able to change direction. Jamar Fletcher does it as well as anybody we've seen this year.
Same play as on first down, and again Johnson catches it one-handed this time, but again he can't believe that he came down out of bounds.
Two beautiful plays by the true freshman out of Detroit. Good gracious, it's a shame those two couldn't have applied.
There's an adjustment that'll give him half yardage just for the effort.
Ron would agree. But what you got here is on the other side.
Oh, he's in. Isn't he in? That right foot is real close to being in.
It sure looked like it to me. It sure looked like it.
So here is Rindle backed up to his own end line. They come after him. They don't get it. A low end over end job. Nick Davis with a head of steam, and look out. Davis to the 21. Where Jason Hagman knifed in to get him. A 36-yard kick comes back 16, a net of 20. Badgers again with tremendous field position at the 21 of the Gophers.
All right, here comes Davis. Great tackle by Hagman, but remember, I mean, this is a beautiful tackle by number 29, Hagman, but look at the field position. How would you like to start every drive from the 22-yard line?
Seems like they pretty much have this third quarter. Under 2 minutes, Dane on first down, room right side. Dragged down by Tyrone Carter, and a flag. He may have had a face mask. He begs to differ. 13 yards for Dane. Tyrone Carter as controlled as he's been really all year by the Badgers.
This is just well blocked at the corner. Hoffman's blocked. He doesn't make his characteristic tackle. Tyrone's get him on the ground. I don't think he's got his face mask.
That was clean.
His hand touched the face mask, came off, and the rule says that that should not be called, and that's why Tyrone was upset. That's 185 pounds getting 260 pounds on the ground pretty promptly. But, I mean, you just watch how this thing evolves, and the next thing you know, they're at your 4-yard line. It's 16-7, and they're about to go in again. A valiant effort by Minnesota, and yet you begin to wonder, is it worth it?
Well, that's a defense that has played about as well as you could ask a group to play in this setting. Ron Dane, they're going to get him for a loss at the 6. Group of about 7 white jerseys surround him here. Rufus Smith got there first. The backup to Curtis Poole at defensive end. And the way Wisconsin plays defense, unless they can hold them to 3 again here, stay within 2 scores, it's going to be a tough fourth quarter. It'll be tough anyway.
I would have said you knew that was coming. It's going to be tough against Wisconsin. These guys are just tough. They beat you up. And Minnesota's played them as well as anybody we've seen this year.
Draw play for Dane. And to the 3, where 3rd and goal will result. Sean Hoffman, Ben Mesera, linebackers grabbing on and holding on for dear life.
And folks, when you hear the term physical football, you want to see what it is? This is what it is. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, not 1 boom, 3 booms. And the last one was that little fella, Demi. His coach Gibbs was worried about him because he's 165 pounds, but I'll tell you, Keith is not scared. He went right after Dane. These guys want to win this game.
Offset eye. 2 tight ends. Gibson is the tight end on the left side here. Option right for Samuel, and he is buried at the line of scrimmage and driven back. And again, the Gophers hold. Park Williams play maybe his best game of the year. Sends a frustrated Mike Samuel back to the sideline on the last play of the third quarter.
We
we head to the fourth, still 16-7 Wisconsin.
How early this morning did you make your first call? When were you not on the phone this afternoon? Tonight, after the kids go to bed, will you check your voicemail? If you're living more and more of your life on the phone these days, welcome.
It is 3rd down and 4 now. The Wolverines trying to wiggle it out and get some air behind them. Penn State's fighting for field position. It's up in the air. It is caught by Ty Street. Wow. He went up over David Macklin and just simply made a great play.
Again, it's the mismatch in size and height. And sees the ball. That's one of the problems with playing bump and run. If you don't see the ball coming, you can't play the ball. And Streets, who is 6'4", sees it all the way and just jumps over the defensive back and makes the play.
And it's 1st down Michigan near the 35. Run it with Justin Fargas. Almost lost it. Down as Fargas got to midfield. That may come back. You don't want this guy to get loose and give him 4 or 5 yards. You'll never catch him. Face mask.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land, and sea. On November 10th, the United States Marine Corps celebrates its 223rd birthday. Its proud and distinguished history will be remembered for that elite corps of men and women who have earned the title Marine. Happy birthday, Marines.
Cheer, Alien. Witness Protection Program. Beer. Foster's. Australian for beer.
I played trumpet in a symphony.
Squeezed it. Reminded me of somebody I know,
Yeah. Yeah. This is Fargas again.
Penetrating, it's long-lasting. Vicks Fluoroseptic. 5 sprays for instant relief that stays.
Fourth quarter at Camp Randall. Dave Barnett, Phil Curry, Dave Ryan, Matt Davenport. We'll try to go 4 for 4. This time a 22-yarder. He's hit from 35, a career best 48 and 18. Alvarez wishes these were PATs. He's only got one of those. He's good again, and it is 19-7. The continuing heroics of Drew Brees. An update, Chris Fowler.
That's right, guys. Gopher fans remember Drew Brees. 6 touchdown passes in about 3 quarters. Today he has 5 against Northwestern. That's Gabe Cox calling it in. 5, so he's got 29 for the season. It ties the Big Ten single-season record. He now shares it with Bobby Horn. Keep it posted.
Well, Barry Alvarez up 19-7. Is he thinking at this point about what might have been more than what is?
No, I think if Barry has one single predominant strength, it is that he can live in the present moment. He said, I don't worry about stuff that people think. I don't worry about what might have happened. He knows it's 19-7. He knows that this game is going his way now. Yeah, he'd love to have had the touchdowns, but he's not worried about that. He's concerned about what happens next. He knows that Minnesota's not likely to drive the ball, and if his team doesn't make mistakes, they're going to probably win this game. That's what he's thinking about. Obviously, Minnesota would have to have 2 touchdowns to get ahead in this game.
Kopetzky studiously avoiding Tyrone Carter, the second-best kick returner in the Big Ten. He's aimed them all at Henderson, and most have been unreturnable. If there is a defensive player of the game today, there he is, Park Williams, who in this game last year had his career-high 15 tackles. He unofficially has 11 today, including a half sack, and a little extra incentive, perhaps, because Kevin Stemke's sister, Lynette, is Park Williams' girlfriend. There will be, I would imagine, some side bets settled.
Yeah, I imagine there'll be a little argument after this game.
Cockrum on point option. Haven't seen much of that today. The pitch goes to Byron Evans for a couple. They'll mark him out at the 20. Driven out by Donnell Thompson.
Keep it up.
A lot of the hits today have come from Park Williams. We got him unofficially for 11 tackles, and most of them look just like that. He took Samuel, who's a big, tough quarterback, and just turned him back the other way. Dane has 10 touchdowns this year. Samuel has 8, the second most in the Big Ten.
Evans credited with a yard. Ron Johnson with Leverson, and the sprained thumb has become the target of choice for Cockerham. He is to the 34, good for 13 yards and a first down.
Now, how happy do you think Ron is that both feet were in bounds there? Actually, you only need one. He's got to be delighted. What a great-looking freshman he is. Good bloodlines. Yeah, he may even end up being better than his dad. Got a lot of time to play. 5
catches, 51 yards for Johnson. Here's another one, and ruled dead again. This is another fumble after contact with the ground, meaning no fumble at all at the 43.
Good call. Good call by the official. The rule says that the ground cannot cause a fumble. Johnson has nice concentration. Good execution by Cochran. The man is down. The ball comes out. 2nd and 2.
From the gun, quarterback draw all the way for Cochran with a lot of room. And dragged out by Jason Doring at the 40. 17 yards for Cochran. One of the few times today that he has looked to run.
We have raved and raved about Burke, and we've talked about some of the other defenders. But you talk to the teammates, you talk to the guys that actually play for Wisconsin, they'll tell you Doring is about the toughest one of all. Don't mess with Jason, number 8. He comes to play, too. Another one of those former walk-ons.
Very impressive march so far. It continues. This will be close for enough for another first down. 11 yards, move the chains again, Cockerham to Johnson. Camp Randall Stadium, 78,000 plus, another sold-out house here in Madison. With Bill Curry and Dave Ryan. Dave Barnett, 19-7 for undefeated 7th-ranked Wisconsin. Never really room to breathe too comfortably today. Now going deep inside the 5, intended for Henderson, and a flag on Jamar Fletcher.
Beautifully executed pump fake by Cochran. I mean, Cochran does not look like, Dave, you said it best, he's not the same guy he was last Saturday against Michigan. He's showing poise. He's showing touch. This ball's thrown in exactly the right place. Fletcher is beat on the play. He turns. The interference call is exactly right. He has to shove Henderson in order to keep him from being there to catch the ball. And this is a very well-executed drive by Minnesota. Maybe the best one we've seen them make this year. Of course, they still got to finish it, but they're at the 15-yard line.
The other difference you notice, Cochran last week never had a look of certainty. He never looked really in control of things. Flags are everywhere. I haven't seen that expression on his face today.
Here's the call.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
But that's too bad for Minnesota. They got something good going, and those 5-yard penalties very often are drive killers. We should give some credit to Troy Dewar today. Number 76 is not only playing for his first time at right tackle, he got moved from tight end this week.
Cochran again inside the 10 for Johnson. He is wearing him out on this drive. Mike Eccles with the tackle, another 11-yard gain down to Dave Ryan.
Yeah, Dave Ron Johnson really has helped the Gophers move down the field. Great drive here with a catch we saw a moment ago and blocking for Billy Cockrum on his run. He also comes from quite a football background. His dad, Ron Sr., played 7 years as a defensive back for the Steelers, twice winning Super Bowl titles. His teammate, Tony Dungy, played Minnesota. Tony Dungy called Ron Johnson and said, hey, Ron, you got to go play the Gophers. He did. Good move.
Into the end zone for Johnson. Incomplete. Taylor and Eccles both back there. Johnson almost at 6'3", able to leap above that group and come down with this one.
We should mention, in addition to the other things Cockrum has done, he's adjusted to a variety of coverages. Kevin Cosgrove's a veteran defensive coordinator. He has made Johnson and Cockrum adjust to 3 deep, 2 deep, man coverage, and everything else.
Quarterback draw for Cockrum, not close to the first down. He got 2 and then quickly driven back by Ross Kalaji and Jason Doring there just for good measure. So now, if you're Glenn Mason, 12 points back, 12 minutes plus to go. The only way you've scored is on a 53-yarder to Leverson. Can you afford to settle for 3 here? He says no.
No, you can't. You can't. What you say to your team if you settle for 3 is, we're not going to try to win this game. We're going to try to keep it close. This makes the statement, we're going to try to win.
Again to the end zone for Henderson. It is incomplete.
Minnesota, hoping for man coverage, ran a man route and ended up getting zoned.
Antoine Henderson trying to beat the fastest man on the Badger defense, redshirt freshman Mike Eccles. It remains 19.
Four-door compact. Welder. See the competition. Katani.
Single season rushing record set by Chucky Dukes. A pass on target, and Harding was holding hands with the Notre Dame.
And I put up really works, don't it? Takes you right around the circle.
Today it's
I even end up washing the salad that I get, the spinach.
Usually has a little.
With the new E-Trade, the
is ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series. We go to the final quarter of play, and the score is a bit of a surprise. 20-0 Michigan, and they have pretty well controlled the football game. They had a great goal line stand when they stopped Penn State on the 1-yard line. They opened with an offense that was moving, fast tempo, bang, bang. And
$10. Send your customers a UPS package in
Penn State, that's been a very good-looking team over the last 6 weeks, suddenly now in a bit of trouble. As Brady puts it in the air for Truman, and it's intercepted by David Macklin. You go to the well, and he'll make you pay.
Now, I'm sure he didn't see him, or he wouldn't have thrown that ball. He threw it. He was covered.
Are you sure you're a real bodyguard?
You're still alive, aren't you?
Pamela Anderson Lee is bodyguard Valerie Irons in VIP, America's #1 new action hour. Check your local listings.
now the funniest show on television.
You magnificent bat.
5 times a week. Check your local listings for time and station.
ESPN's presentation of Big Ten football is brought to you by Hewitt LeSabre for safety and peace of mind.
Glenn Mason goes for it all with 12:15 to go. If they hit, they're 1 score away. If they settle for the field goal, it's 19-10. They still need 2 scores. Tough to do anywhere against Wisconsin, especially in Madison. And a carry by Dane into the arms of Park Williams.
Glenn Mason's trying to build a program at Minnesota. What he wanted to say to his team is, look, we're trying to win this football game. We're not trying to keep it close. We're going to go for the touchdown and then come back down and get another touchdown. Well, maybe they lost the game right there. We don't know yet. but at least they tried to win it. And that's the statement he wanted to make to his players.
Got their moral victory last week. Didn't set all that well with them. Dane with room to ramble. Carter drives him out at the 36-yard line after 23, his biggest pickup of the day.
And the block of the day by the most important man by far on this football field, the offensive center, Casey Robach, right here is going to pull out. This is beautiful. Watch this big guy. Now, centers don't get to do this very often. Knocks Sean Hoffman on the ground so Ron can run unimpeded for a lengthy game. Good job, Casey. Keep the center tradition alive.
Dane's still the only back in the country who has 100 yards in every appearance this year. Samuel on a keeper. And about 5 on first down, tackled by Keith Demme. He missed one game early in the season, San Diego State, but every game he has appeared in this year, 100-plus and 22 and counting for his career.
Keith Demme, number 8, free safety, the little guy that Coach Gibbs was so worried about, has garnered himself 13 tackles in this game.
And still standing and maybe even still smiling.
That's a grimace.
Unheard of. Wincing maybe. 2nd and 4, down goes Samuel at the 34. Sean Hoffman on a blitz alongside John Michaels. Florida and Vanderbilt. An update from Chris Fowler.
Yeah, and in recent trips to Nashville, the Gators have gotten a scare. Not today so far. Doug Johnson escapes the sack perfectly in stride, hitting Nafis Karim. 21-3 Gators at the end of one. Troy Edwards, 2 touchdown catches, ties Randy Moss's single-season record for reception as they're blowing out Arkansas State.
Records dropping left and right. 3rd and 11. A fairly big play for the Minnesota defense here. Needing a stop, needing the ball back. Samuel on the option. He is driven out of bounds again by Tyrone Carter, short of the first down at the 43. And that stops the clock at 10:01, and they will get it on a punt.
The answer to the 8-man front for Wisconsin is not the passing game, but rather the option. They spent the summer with the Nebraska staff. They hope to make first downs running that play. They came close. Didn't quite make it.
Stemke gets a hop, and Leverson, a very dangerous decision to field that one at his 6. 49-yard kick. Jose, again the gunner, down for the stop with 9:52.
Some people call it retirement planning. I think of this as future construction. Year by year, block by block, till it's our dream house.
Michigan State, Ohio State, ACC, Virginia, FSU, Pac-10, Washington, Oregon, Big 12, Oklahoma State, Texas. Check your local listing. Ball's on the 34-yard line after that first down, and the referee, Kimmerling, flips the flag into the air and calls for an illegal substitution.
It is a place where power isn't flaunted, but instead quietly asserted. Because sometimes a whisper can say all the right things. Park Avenue by Buick, the power of understatement.
Okay, buddy, let's see what you got.
You're on. How about the loser pays the other's phone bill?
It depends. Have you been dialing 10-10-321?
You know it. 10-10-321 saves over AT&T on every call.
What better way to keep in touch?
Yep, great for all those quick calls to Mount Ruth.
And saves me big time on those long ones to Grammy and Phoenix. 50% off calls over 20 minutes.
I hear you. Just dial 10-10-321, then 1 and the number.
It's the only way to do long distance.
Correction, my man. Oh! That's the way you do long distance. 10-10-321.
Very typical. Wisconsin, very steady, grinding away. Points at every quarter. Minnesota scored only on the long ball, and they're backed up inside their own 6. yard line. Almost intercepted, intended for Henderson. Eccles with a busy second half, mostly hooking up with Ron Johnson. Since the Leverson thumb injury, I think they've only thrown at him once, which really changes the whole scheme for Billy Cochran.
I think they like the size of Johnson, too, though, and his ability to make those adjustments in traffic and catch those little slants, which Cochran throws so well.
Flag thrown.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still second down.
Well, they did that once near the Wisconsin goal line when they were in scoring range, and now they back up near their own goal line to the 3.
Ball moving back to the 3-yard line.
Ryan Ross, number 66, a little movement there at the very worst place that it can happen. Too bad for Minnesota. Back inside their 5.
Cochran again looking on a floater for Johnson. Intercepted by Mike Eccles, his 3rd of the year. And the 4th thrown today by Cochran. That is the one rather large wart on his stat sheet today.
Sometimes you go to the well one time too many. Eccles has been worked over today, but he's right where he's supposed to be. Good job in man coverage. Johnson falls down. Both players pushing and jostling. Excellent athletic play to come up with the football.
Out of Youngstown, Ohio, redshirt freshman. One of the big changes defensively for the Badgers this year, the fact that their corners now catch the interceptable balls, which last year, more often than not, get their hands and then fell to the AstroTurf. Let's look again at the remainder of our Saturday game schedule. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on the Deuce in the SEC. Mississippi State against Tim Couch in Kentucky. 7:30 Eastern in the Big East. Donovan McNabb in Syracuse in West Virginia. And then back on ESPN2 at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific in the WAC. In the Mountain Division, first place Wyoming at Colorado State. Football into the wee hours on ESPN and ESPN2. At the 9-minute mark of the 4th quarter, Samuel and Wisconsin looking at 2nd and 8, and the option pitch for Dane. John Hoffman tried to get him shoulder to shoulder, and that was shrugged off by Dane. Schlecht finally drives him out, but it's 14 yards.
Beautiful blocking at the point of attack. Superb execution. Coach Alvarez considered going to the triple option, but decided there was too much time involved. Look right here. Look at the seal. Gibson seals the whole side of the field with a nice pitch. Excellent blocking by the tight end, John Sigmund, number 85. And down the field goes Ron Dane,
who likes the option because usually he only has to get hit by 1 or 2 guys as opposed to 4 or 5 or more up the middle. Cut this one out and hit at the 11. Tyrone Carter, Arkansas and Ole Miss. A look in, Chris Fowler.
Dave, the Hogs are playing in the mud and slowly, methodically beating Ole Miss. Here's Mondre Hill up the middle, 21-0 now in the rain at Fayetteville, Tennessee up next for Arkansas. Dante Culpepper's thrown 2 picks inside the Auburn 10-yard line, but still, Central Florida has the lead on the Plains. Back to you guys.
Dante Culpepper kind of forgotten on the national scene after their loss at Purdue, but on a record pace in quarterback rating, completion percentage. 1 yard for Dane this time. Antoine Richard, with a quick contact, and down we go to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, you talked about Wisconsin grinding down the Gophers today. It's exactly what they've done so well in rolling to what could be a 9-0 record this year. Barry Alvarez tells us they have to outwork teams every week to be successful. They're not a spectacular bunch, not a flashy team, but they certainly are effective. And without that attitude, they wouldn't be as good, according to their coach.
Now, he's right on all those accounts, but does he and do a lot of people downplay their talent? They're not just blue collar. They have ability.
They have a lot of ability, but they get more out of less than most coaching staffs. That's what I think.
Samuel Wood right left, that decides to keep, and he has room inside the 10. Angles his way to the end zone. Samuel gets his 9th touchdown run. That is second only in the Big Ten to his teammate Ron Dane. He came in tied with Ohio State's Michael Wiley in touchdown runs from the quarterback position. And he, for all intents and purposes, salts this one away for the Badgers.
All he does is beat you. He reminds me of Billy Lockridge that played with us at Georgia Tech back in the early 60s. Didn't look real pretty, just win the games one way or the other.
Davenport with the extra point. His 22nd career touchdown run. Yet another school record in the books for Mike Samuel, the senior from Philadelphia. 26-7 Wisconsin.
Weren't playing that well. Lots of turnovers, lots of penalties.
Defense carried the team.
Time of possession was not good. All of the things you look for in an offense, really wasn't there. But today, they've had time of possession in their favor, lots of plays, lots of energy.
And this is a good defense they're playing, folks. I guarantee you it is. That ball is handed down to about the 30-yard line with Fargus carrying.
This Penn State defense that they're playing, Keith, was 5th in the nation coming in scoring defense.
Yeah, but here they are now. They got to go to that adrenaline well.
Items from all over the world. Exquisite amber and sterling silver jewelry. Dresses from India and Indonesia. And 100% wool sweaters. Zigzag Zone has everything for your holiday gift giving. Tie-dye, Grateful Dead, tragically hip clothing and accessories. Not to mention hard-to-find Beanie Babies. You don't have to drive far to find unique items. Just enter the Zigzag Zone.
A happy action fun time on ESPN. It's college basketball season, my friend. The crazy rabbit fans painting their faces. The funky pep bands, the co-ed rip races. Crazy for the hoop, the joy of the sadness. We'll have a happy action fun time.
The Coaches versus Cancer Icon Classic Championship, Wednesday at 9 on ESPN.
Well, we would assume a congratulatory phone call being fielded by Mike Samuel. They have visions of Pasadena. Should they be given up yet on Tempe? They have Michigan next week, and we'll have it from the Big House at noon Eastern. One to look forward to. Michigan has been handling Penn State so far today with surprising ease. Kosetsky's kick, again avoiding Carter. Returned by Henderson to the 24. The thing is, you look at the people that are ranked ahead of Wisconsin, the others that are even unbeaten, and they all have very losable games.
Very losable games. How about this? Ohio State, Wisconsin in the Fiesta Bowl for the national championship. Stranger things have happened. Barry Alvarez looked at me like he had seen a ghost when I suggested that yesterday. That would be fun.
Ryan Keller will see his first action at quarterback in 3 years since he was a senior at Stevenson High School in Chicago. Incomplete for Leverson, and a coach named Curry in Lexington, Kentucky saw a lot that he liked in Ryan Keller and signed him, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Ryan just has superb ability. I'm not going to say anything about that most recent throw, except that it's his first one in 3 years. On the practice field, he was excellent for us. He was a great scout team quarterback. We redshirted him his freshman year. This is his first time to play quarterback since he was a high school senior. Tough defense to start with.
From wide receiver to second-team quarterback. And Ron Johnson coming down with that one inbounds in front of Eccles at the 43. Andy Pursby, who has been a part-time starter this year, is not even with the team today. They left him home with a variety of injuries, mostly a thigh bruise. Carter, a very game effort and a lot of improvement, very evident today, despite the interceptions.
He did a nice job. Keller's biggest asset is he's extremely bright.
His previous completion was a 52-yard option touchdown against Purdue to Leverson as that one gets batted away. Coming up at 3:30 Eastern on ABC Sports. From here in the Big Ten, number 1 Ohio State traveling to Michigan State. From the ACC, number 12 Virginia against number 6 Florida State. Oklahoma State travels to Austin to take on number 23 Texas in the Big 12, and Washington tackles number 20 Oregon from the Pac-10. West Coast viewers can also see Fresno State at San Diego State. That begins at 4 Pacific time. Check your local listings for the game in your area, or get the ESPN game plan and have access to every one of them. Hanging one up for Henderson, incomplete. Couldn't quite wrestle it away from Eccles. And let's hear from Chris Fowler. Guys, the Irish were down by a field goal at halftime, but they've taken control of Boston College. Check out this play. 3rd and 22 on the 5-yard line. Jarius Jackson from his 2 whips it 56 yards in the air. Malcolm Johnson hauls it in, sets up a Denson touchdown. Irish by 11 now. Back to Madison. You know, a long time since a one-loss Notre Dame team isn't in the top 10. But they started for them ranked very lowly, and it's slowly, kind of like Wisconsin, pushed their way up the rankings to 13. They hang on, probably higher yet. Johnson, the target here, and Jamar Fletcher got another hand on it. Jamar, a neighbor of former Badger Terrell Fletcher, grew up right around the corner, in fact, in St. Louis, no relation.
This is textbook coverage and recovery. Johnson was good enough to turn him around. He did a 360 and resumed his position, broke on the ball beautifully. That's how you play man. If you can run like Jamar. If you can't run that fast, you better not get turned.
Davis coming up to field this punt by Rendles at the 24. Short return of a short punt, 33-yarder. 6 minutes, 36 seconds to go. Ron Dane, is he done for the day? He has kept his string of 100-yard games alive, 35 for 133. But less than 4 yards per carry. And Gibbs had talked about the fact that if he gets 40 for 150, fine, because compared to what he has done to him, averaging 240 in the 2 previous meetings with Minnesota, major progress.
Yeah, and he's not going to get 40 carries because Minnesota is not in this game. And Kavanaugh's in at quarterback now, the backup to Samuel.
Scott Kavanaugh, Jr. out of Naperville, Illinois, with flags before he can get his first snap of the day.
And Ferrario's going to turn around and say, man, you're doing the snap count different from the other guy.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Kavanaugh's going to say, well, you sit in there anyhow, big guy. Give me a chance. I don't want 1st and 15 here. That's no fun.
Talked about Samuel's efficiency. Kavanaugh has thrown, well, coming in, he's thrown 85 fewer passes than Samuel and had as many touchdown passes. Each had 4. No interceptions, 13 out of 21 for 182 for Kavanaugh. Eddie Faulkner's second carry of the day. Lowers the shoulder, drives across the 25-yard line. Carter with the hit. Badgers try to run clock down near 6 minutes.
I remember Faulkner coming in against Iowa last year when they lost the game right here on this field in the first quarter. Faulkner gained over 100 yards, did a terrific job. So you got good players. As you said, yes, Wisconsin definitely has talent. But they take the guys who don't have such great talent and somehow get them to play beyond themselves, and that's why they have an undefeated record.
And the other things you pointed out several times, they spot the guys that they can invite to walk on and develop. And the fact that this highly rated defense has 4 of those starting. You name most defenses after another carry by Faulkner that have 4 walk-on starting, you're probably talking about a team with a losing record.
That's right. I don't think I've ever seen anybody that plays this well, this consistently, that can make the statement that we've got a bunch of walk-ons starting for us, the former walk-ons. What that means is they were undersized or maybe not just a step slow for their positions, and they've come here and developed themselves and gotten in with the program and are now legitimate starters at this level. Tough to do.
Willie Austin comes wide to the left. Chambers in motion, and Kavanaugh will run the option, and he'll keep. He'll be well short of the first down at the 32, where Keith Dimmy wraps him up under the 5-minute mark. Always a good sign under Barry Alvarez anyway when they have at least 50 rushes, and today they are at 51. Only twice have they lost when they've had that type of ground control.
30-2 is pretty good, you know.
9:38. Winding the play clock down. Leverson fielded the last one on a hop at the 6. Doesn't get a chance to here. Penn State and Michigan. Let's look in again with Chris.
Well, Dave, after 9 weeks, Michigan has finally rediscovered the spark. They are manhandling Penn State. Anthony Thomas with a touchdown run, 27-0 in the final minute. Sets up very special next week. Wisconsin, Michigan, high noon on ESPN. You guys will watch something fun, huh?
Looking forward to that one. That'll be 7-2 Michigan, 9-0 Wisconsin. Lloyd Carr finally gets his complete game.
It certainly looks like he's getting one. They're not finished yet, but they're on their way.
Ryan Keller will get another series. Time to look from the shotgun and show his arm strength. Almost intercepted. That one intended for Alex Hawes, the tight end. And it was nearly picked off by Eccles.
Really fine job by number 76, Troy Dewar. I'm really impressed with him. The starting right tackle has been a tight end until today. I suppose he worked all week at the position, but he pass protected Tom Burke there and did as good a job as anybody this year. Did it one-on-one.
Step drop this time, a pump, and again a deep ball and a flag intended for Henderson, run over by Jamar Fletcher near midfield.
Now, lest you question this strategy by Minnesota, they're really trying the only way they can to try to get back into this game. Deep ball left, deep ball right, hope for an interference, hope for a big catch. This time they got the interference called. Jamar Fletcher tripped him up inadvertently.
We've seen so many comparisons drawn to the '93 Wisconsin series or season when Barry Alvarez took them to the Rose Bowl 10-1-1. The one loss that year was to Minnesota. Don't think he didn't remind this year's edition of that upset of '93.
This wasn't their sharpest day in the beginning, but they've done what they like to do, and they've ground them down and have a convincing lead here.
Keller for Ron Johnson. Overthrown and out of bounds. Coming up tomorrow on ESPN, the NASCAR season concludes with the Napa 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Winston Cup champion Jeff Gordon takes the track trying to claim win number 13 this season, which would tie the modern era record set by Richard Petty back in 1975. Coverage of the season finale Begins at 11:30 on ESPN2 with a NASCAR Today and continues on ESPN at 12:40 p.m. Eastern, 9:40 a.m. Pacific. Keller with a scramble will keep to the 39-yard line. Wisconsin will go to 9-0, Bill, for the first time, well, in a while.
1901.
Yep. They made a habit of that around the turn of the century. 1897, 98, 99, and again 1901. Barry Alvarez in the official book gets his 58th career win. Phil King, 65, is listed as their all-time winningest. But
who'd they play?
Well, they played, well, I'll give you an example. That 1901 team included victories over Milwaukee Medical School, Hyde Park High School. Wisconsin's played the 98th toughest schedule in the country this year, but I haven't seen any medical schools nor high schools on this year's slate.
I noticed that they lost to their alumni somewhere through there, the alumni squad.
That was in 97. Started 8-0 that year. Lost 6-0 to the alums.
Well, they don't play the alumni anymore.
Well, Rindles will kick it with 3:12 to go. This one goes just about straight up and straight down. Wind has turned around a little bit. That may have been actually into the wind, and it takes the Gopher roll to the 23, 36 yards. Down we go to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, Wisconsin coach Barry Alvarez took a lot of time this week to emphasize how important college football's oldest rivalry game is. This week in the team locker room, he had a videotape of Wisconsin celebrations after beating Minnesota in games this decade, playing for the players to watch. He also brought the Paul Bunyan axe to practice on Thursday, had all the players touch it on their way off the field. Dave and Bill, the coaches have the players really focused on winning this game and how important the rivalry is. We'll talk more about that after this play come up.
Yeah, these guys take enormous pride in what they do. And as we've said, they weren't the sharpest today, but they have found a way to keep their streak going.
Faulkner with the give from Kavanaugh, hit at the line of scrimmage. Back to Dave Ryan.
Well, they remember winning the Axe game in 1991. It was Alvarez's first career Big Ten victory. But in 93, the one bump in the road and the Roseville title run was a loss to the Gophers, 28-21 at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Jeff Ross got an interception touchdown return, and the Gophers had themselves a huge celebration taking the Axe around the dome. They lost the game in 94 at Camp Randall Stadium, but in 95, it all changed, and who can forget that one? The Badgers win. Tony Simmons had a touchdown catch in that game, and afterwards, the quarterback, Darrell Bevel, storming the Gopher sideline. He actually went to the goalpost and took a couple whacks at it, tried to chop it down, guys. Great rivalry games.
They haven't forgotten that. They may never forget that in Minneapolis. Faulkner tackled by the pursuit of Dyron Russ, all the way from defense to tackle. Guys who saw that, anyway, mention it every year, that sight of Bevel trying to chop down the goalpost at the Metrodome.
Yeah, he made a big impression on everybody. I'm not sure how long it would have taken him to get that thing down, but that thing's coming back out again. They're getting ready to unsheath it over here. As for Minnesota, they can build on this. They played 3 superb quarters against one of the better teams in the country. They got to go back to work again.
Kavanaugh's pass almost picked off by Travis Graham. Right in his hands. Our AXA Equitable Players of the Game. Ron Johnson, 9 catches for 100 yards, a lot in the second half as Leverson has nursed the injured thumb. Ron Dane for the Badgers, 35 carries, 133 yards. Another 1,000-yard season, another 100-yard day. And the first touchdown of the day for Wisconsin. He is still the only back in the country with no games below 100 yards this year. Leverson gets one he can return.
Leverson on the return.
Flag on a late hit. They're going to get Godorsey for a late hit at the 40 after a 47-yard punt, brought back 16.
Yeah, Chris was a little late there. Leverson very courageously corralling that ball and heading up the sideline. There's the call.
How is Drew Brees doing now? Chris Fowler.
Well, still pretty well, Dave. He now has the Big Ten single-season touchdown pass record all to himself. Number 6 of the day against Northwestern. Randall Lane hauls it in from 70 yards out. 6 against Northwestern. He had 6 earlier against Minnesota. Boilermakers rolling.
Rolling toward their first road win in conference play, the Axe will stay put in the trophy case here in Madison. Boy, what a hit delivered by Bose against Arlen Bruce, the intended receiver.
Bose likes that hitting stuff. He's been great on special teams today. We sort of noticed him early in the year. He's a true freshman out of Villa Park, California. Hard-nosed special teams guy getting a little chance to get in the game from regular scrimmage play.
Well, we're going to see two very similar teams in Ann Arbor next week. Wisconsin will go in 9-0. Michigan will go in on a 7-game winning streak. Keller. Bruce trying to reverse field and just does manage the line of scrimmage. Give me a quick handicap of Badgers Wolverines next week.
Two very physical teams. Michigan's just gotten better and better. Obviously, they cut out the mistakes today or they wouldn't have the score they have. What's killed them all year is the special teams and offensive mistakes. If they cut that out, we'll have a great football game next week.
78,767. 7767. The University of Wisconsin, thank you for your support of Badger football.
Gophers will fall to 4-5, still not completely wiped out of the bowl picture. They will need to close with a couple of wins. Here's Keller, hanging one up deep, and incomplete at the goal line, intended for Lee Hutton. Coverage by Joey Bose with 12 seconds to go. Bose out of one of the outstanding high school programs in the country, Modern Day High School in the L.A. area.
It's one of those deals always in the top 10 high school teams, sometime ranked number 1, aren't they?
However they can do that, national high school rankings still don't quite make sense to me, considering they very rarely play anybody outside their own state. But you're right, they're always up there. One more shot for Keller if he can get loose. He's got 3 targets in the end zone, and none of them come down with it. Looked like for a second maybe Ron Johnson had a hand on it. Incomplete with 2 seconds to go. As the Badgers again wield the axe.
I guess they won't cut these goalposts down, huh?
They'll leave these up. They need them for Penn State in 2 weeks. Still unbeaten. Still in the top 10. But by far their biggest test yet to come at Ann Arbor back here against the Nittany Lions. In the 108th meeting of Division I's oldest rivalry, the Wisconsin Badgers 26-7 over Glen Mason's Minnesota Golden Gophers. Again, our final 26-7 for the Badgers. And for Bill Curry, Dave Ryan, and our entire ESPN crew,